Departure 2. Ling Yan, I have something to ask you. Bai Yan did not notice the mood of Ji Song, who was making an envious face to one side. She's too preoccupied with what Elder Sky said earlier, so she's pretty worried. Looking up with her little tiny face. What is it, mother? If I know, I will tell you. Sweetie, have you been feeling unwell? Bai Yan asks after a brief muse. Tilting her head in contemplation, the little pipsqueak wonders why her mother would ask such a question. But mother, I'm perfectly fine, see? Jumping in a circle to show she's all right, the pipsqueak doesn't appear sick at all and was very healthy. Is that so? Bai Yan still felt uneasy. Do you feel anything like a burning sensation inside your body? Shaking her head. No. No. In light of the denial, Bai Yan's heart didn't relax in the slightest and grew more worried by the moment. Half a ring later, she decides to probe her daughter's entire body instead to make sure. According to common practice, one wouldn't use their spiritual feelers on a commoner without power, since it would leave the patient somewhat unstable from the mental intrusion. However, if the user was careful, then it's doable as a last resort. For example, let's say a person was severely sick and needed medical treatment. That wouldn't cause harm since the patient was already unwell and couldn't resist the outside force. And then there are the occasions where one had a unique condition that made it more beneficial to perform the procedure versus ignoring the problem. Like in this case, Ling Yan fell into the second option, where it's better to make sure versus ignoring the issue. Letting her aura spread into the child's skin, Bai Yan closes her eyes to focus on any oddity from within. It's then that the demon queen got all white in the face. Specifically, in the heart area, where she could see a bead lying at the center with a flame coating the tiny object. Thankfully, the fire wasn't harming the host. Otherwise, Bai Yan wouldn't know what to do then due to the panic. Ling Yan, do you feel any pain coming from the heart? Quickly drawing her senses back out, Bai Yan's expression became a morbid white of horror. Blinking those big blue eyes like a clueless baby. Why would mother ask such a thing? I don't feel any discomfort at all. The woman got all silent again. A few moments later, can you tell me about the flaming bead in your heart then? Who put it there? Whoever it is. If they hurt my precious darling, I won't let them go. The desire to kill has emerged from within those eyes, setting the mood for what's to come if it's known who the perpetrator was. I don't remember. Biting her finger, the pipsqueak timidly answers. Forcing her spiraling emotions back down, Bai Yan doesn't want to upset her child by keep her voice down. Think, Ling Yan, think some more. Revealing a doubt in those eyes, Ling Yan tilts her head in deep thought, only to smack her own head after coming up with an answer. Mother, do you remember when I said there's a cave in the Demon Mountain? There was a man inside that cave. Huh. Bai Yan's face instantly formed a frown. Pouting her cheeks up like a cherry. I remember that day he gave me something, maybe it's the bead? He told me to keep something for him until he comes get it. Departure 3. Ji Sky said so already. Whenever Ling Yan is in danger, the bead will burn up and repel anyone that touches her. It's clear the bead is powerful in its own right. Since it's here, then there's no reason to return it. Bai Yan sneered. Whatever his purpose for doing this, it's still the same as putting a bomb in your body. It's dangerous. Whether it's out of spite or revenge, we're keeping it after we pry it out from inside you. Want it back? Dream on. Not only will we not give it back, we're going to be settling the debt of putting such a bomb inside my darling without permission. The pipsqueak hung her head in thought. Mother, that big brother doesn't seem like a bad guy though. Although at first he's a bit mean, but he didn't really hurt me at the end. He's probably not that bad and only has a big mouth. I can't forgive him for the very fact that he would dare risk your well-being. Bai Yan sounds irked by her own words. Ling Yan, we must get back to the demon realm as soon as possible. Your father will know a way to help you. Okay. Ling Yan nods in compliance. She also misses her father and 2 brothers. Ji Song never uttered a peep during this entire time despite also being there. However, her silence finally caught the attention of the Demon Queen, who somehow found the time to glance around. Song, do you have something to say to me? You look like you got a lot on your mind. The girl pursed her lips. Can I leave with you? She's hopeful for a yes, so the girl didn't blink at all. Smiling at the nervous appearance, Bai Yan understood why she would ask that. Of course, I saved you, so the price is you following Ling Yan. Even though Ling Yan is still young, but she will eventually grow up. The The sooner she has some followers the better. Song here will be a perfect candidate. Song's eyes lit up at the confirmation and caused her to smile brilliantly. It's expected since she's got her wish. Sister Song, Lingyan crisply called out and grabbed her friend's hand. Your smile is so beautiful, I like it so much. Blushing at the praise, the once morbid girl never had someone call her beautiful before. The feeling felt new, and it's wonderful. Lingyan, you stay and play with your sister Song. I need to go discuss something with your grandfather. Tee-hee, the pipsqueak giggles with delight at the order. I will, mother, I will be very good while you go see grandfather. Pleased by the obedience, Bai Yan leans down and gives her daughter a peck on the cheek to seal the deal. However, she was surprised by the envious gaze coming off of Song's eye once she straightened up. It seems she's been careless and hit a sore spot on the girl's mind. They died in order to protect their baby, so Song never got to meet her parents. Softening up at the thought, Bai Yan knew she had to do something. She may not be her real parents, but she could be a substitute as a guiding elder. Reaching out with a hand, she rubs that little head as she spoke. Song, I'll be leaving Lingyan in your care. Her hands were warm and gentle, causing the girl to stiffen up out of reflex. This would be the first time she's physically touched another person outside of her grandfather in this fashion. Everyone else was either an attendant or maid. They served her out of respect and command, not on emotions or love. Departure for, therefore, under the warmth of Bai Yan's palm, Ji Song's nose got a little sour like she wanted to weep. Miss, I will. Don't call me miss if you don't mind, call me an auntie instead. Your father and mother both lost their lives defending the heavenly domain. It's only proper we treat each other as family. Bai Yan's soft cooing voice was spot on, hitting the knot that's been plaguing the child's heart. Hurrying to wipe the tears from the corner of her eye, Song forms a smile to show her current emotions. However, unlike the awkward and weird one she made at their first encounter, this former morbid child had on a more relaxed and smooth expression. It goes to show one only needs the practice to become their true self after recovery. Auntie, don't blame me? Taken aback by that statement, Bai Yan raises an eyebrow. Did you do something wrong? Ji Song grips her dress in unease. My grandfather hurt your mother the mistress, and he wanted to catch Lingyan. Your grandfather is your grandfather, you are you, I will not put you two together. Bai Yan shakes her head to dismiss the heavy mood as she smiles. Not to mention Lingyan has spoken up for your grandfather, I do not blame him. Truth was, she could relate to Ji Sky's impulse. If her own precious darling had encountered such a thing, the demon queen would undoubtedly do the same thing and not trust a stranger. But understanding was one thing, allowing it to happen was another. She couldn't turn a blind eye to Bai Ning's injury. If it were not for the praises Lingyan said about the care provided by Ji Sky during her period inside the ruins, the matter definitely wouldn't be settled so quickly. Thank you, Auntie. Ji Song smiled in relief. Bai Yan never noticed it before, but the girl's smile actually looked pretty good after gaining some weight in recent days. If this continues, she's bound to become quite the beauty in her own right. The two of you go play, I'll be back soon. Retracting her eyes, the demon queen started to head towards her father's study room. Study. Rubbing his temple with a finger, Heavenly made a troubled expression due to what's plaguing his mind. Looking up at the sound, the man felt annoyed since he ordered none to disturb him. However, his frown quickly relaxed at who it was. Yen, how come you are here? Stopping before her father. Father, have you found a way to break the seal? Hearing her words, the monarch stumbled for a reply first before smiling bitterly. Then, shaking his head, the Great Seal was created using my physical body as a price. Removing is not an easy feat even for myself. I've thought about it. If I break it, then the other domains will certainly band together. By then, things will become chaotic. Once the domain war breaks out, the influence would extend to every corner of the worlds. Whether it be the human planes, the demon world, or the celestial world, all would be dragged into the fight. That's why he created the seal in the first place. It's to stop all the carnage and bloodbath. Father. So you're not leaving with us? Bai Yan got where this was headed and sounded tired. You've been away from home for so long, everyone misses you so much. Covering the pain in his eyes by lowering them, the man shakes his head once more. There's no other option. Yen, I will have to bother you to give them my message. In reality, he never actually thought about breaking the seal to begin with, even if there were a way. He's someone that willingly sacrificed himself for the well-being of all. Such a man would never put his own selfishness before the populace. That's not within his character. Departure 5. I need to take Ling Yan back for a while. Ditsong must be worried about me. Bai Yan flickers with light in those eyes as she speaks. Do you know a way to send me out of the domain? Those not at the same level of a monarch could leave the domains. However, she had tried before and didn't find a way, hence her visit today to ask. Yan, I'll send you and your mother out first. This heavenly domain is too dangerous. He shakes his head and sighs, pricking her brow. You think she would leave just because I advise her to go? If mother finds out you're staying, then she will stay with you. But, father, I'm going back to seek help. If my husband can send mother over here, then that proves he has a way of leaving without breaking the seal. That finally moved the man's determination. He's highly reluctant to admit that Ditsong had abducted his precious daughter, but now he's going to have to admit this son-in-law of his had the ability to be a good husband if this plan works out. Okay. He nods, agreeing with this method. Suddenly, the man recalled the picture of the adorable grandchild that's also going to leave him. Daughter, after you take Ling Yan away, be sure to pay attention to those who come close to her. Don't let those stinking boys take my granddaughter away. I think my granddaughter is fine all on her own and doesn't need those underserving men. After all, there was only one man like Ditsong. How could those other insects be worthy of her precious granddaughter? Bai Yan nearly lost it and burst out laughing. Father, if my memory serves me right, what you told Ling Yan before is quite different. From what I heard, you urged her to not listen to Ditsong and Xiaochen, that she must pursue her own happiness and not miss it. Freezing into a statue at being called out, Heavenly makes an awkward cough to clear his throat. That is only because I didn't know she is my own granddaughter. If I had known the truth, I would be on Ditsong and Xiaochen's side and not let those filthy brats steal my precious granddaughter's innocence. But don't you want to see a great-grandchild sometime into the future? That. Heavenly had to think it over before continuing. Isn't there already Xiaochen? How can a girl of our family be abducted by an outsider? Just have Xiaochen bring a girl home. That will get me a good great-grandchild. I'm sure that boy won't let me down. In other words, it's okay for the men of their family to abduct girls from different families over and not vice versa. Bai Yan was at a loss for wording after that, so she didn't rebut that logic. Yan, you must look after Ling Yan. If a brat dares to come after her, you ought to break his leg for me. When saying this, the man looked very serious with no hint of joking around. Like always, this poor demon queen started to worry for her own daughter again and her future husband-to-be. It's going to be a complicated process with men like these in her family. You don't have to worry about it. Ditsong and Xiaochen already got that area covered. She shrugs without much care. If anyone tries to pursue Ling Yan, then you can believe those two are on top of the matter. Besides, if someone outstanding does want my daughter's hand, I'm sure Ling Yan is capable of choosing her own partner. I have full confidence in my daughter. Softening up in his voice, Heavenly felt reassured after that. In that case, I'm relieved. When you are ready, let me know and I will escort you out of the domain myself. What better time is there than now? Bai Yan doesn't delay and went ahead with the plan. She already knows something was wrong with her daughter's body. The sooner she got back, the better. Departure 6. Startled by the suddenness of it all, Heavenly showed a burst of reluctance as his throat went dry. So fast. Bai Yan slightly nods, her heart equally as reluctant to leave. But dragging this out won't change a thing. It would only make the situation worse by increasing the risk. Father, we'll see each other again. When me and Ditsong think of a way, we will come back to you. A bittersweet flavor filled the man's mouth over the last sentence. It's okay, you don't need to make it sound so sad like I'm never going to see you again. Go clean yourself up first, then I'll take you to the exit. Okay. Giving one last glance at her old man, Bai Yan doesn't linger and walked outside like a strong-willed woman. However, that strong facade deflated the second she was out of sight and standing before the open sun. She doesn't like this one bit. This was the first time their family managed to get together for once, and now they're separating again. There's no way her mood wouldn't be affected, especially when they had to leave Heavenly behind in this domain where enemy forces could come and go without a moment's notice. Gritting her teeth in frustration. If my guess is correct, the reason me and Ling Yan were able to cross over to the heavenly domain is specifically because of that flaming bead. It probably activated because of the outer domain's energy that seeped into the demon realm from the first attack. But why did it send us to Father's own domain? Unlike the main worlds where the spiritual particles are all neutral in nature, these domains on the other hand are all tuned to their respective creators. Take Heavenly's domain for example. It's aligned to his signature, so everyone residing in this world are all practicing abilities similar to his. That's why she's in a hurry to leave. Bai Yan's afraid the flaming bead was powered by some other form of energy found only in the outer domains. Since a recent invasion force had attacked, there are bound to be a lot of residual life force floating around beyond their eyes to see. Imagine the worst happening without their knowledge, and her daughter bursts into a pyre. That would be a nightmare. No. I won't let that happen. I won't let anything hurt my sweet darling. Thinking of this, Bai Yan's reluctance promptly dissipated and transformed into a stern and powerful air that propelled her to move forward. She's not walking slow but fast and precise in her strides. Ling Yan, Song, both of you go clean up and pack your things, we're leaving right away. Bai Yan's voice reached over to the courtyard before she even arrived at where the kids were playing. Mother, are we going now? But what about grandfather? Did we figure out a way to leave with him? Shaking her head. No, we will leave first. Your grandfather can't come yet. Grandfather's not leaving? There's a sense of disappointment in the pipsqueak's voice. I thought we would all leave together. Tasting bitterness in her mouth as well, Bai Yan could relate to her daughter's damped mood. I'm sorry, sweetie, we still haven't found a method yet. We've dragged this trip for some time now, so we must go back to your father's side. In addition, we can look for a way to help from the demon realm with your father. It won't be long before we reunite with your grandfather, I promise, okay? Sure enough, those reassuring words dispersed the damp mood in the air and raised the spirit of the baby girl. Then let's go, mother. I know father will have a way. He's so strong and powerful. Father will definitely find a way. Giving her daughter a rub on the head, Bai Yan then shifts her attention to the other child. Song, your grandfather likely won't be able to come with us. I believe you should go tell him yourself about our departure. I don't know when we will be able to come back. Demon Realm. Ji Song nodded and trotted her legs over in the direction of the Elder Council's quarter. Ling Yan, you too. Go clean yourself up and we will head out soon. Bai Yan turns to the pipsqueak and orders, her eyes a mixed bag of emotions. Demon Realm. The blood moon continued to blanket over this world, thus giving it a tense vibe due to the two opposing forces on the current battlefield. Baddie father, we are going to look for mother after we finish off these people, right? Next to the young teen stood a peerless man that oozed with a mighty air of a king. Making a bloodthirsty smile as he spoke. This should be the last batch. Once we settle the problems here, we will go find your mother for sure. As soon as he heard this, Bai Xiaoqin's eyes promptly lit up with joy. He hasn't seen his mother and sister for months, and if it weren't for these people repeatedly coming to attack, he would have long run off to search for them. Thankfully, the new arrivals are growing weaker and weaker. Presumably, the strongest have died in the initial wave, and now the remaining forces are probably the weaklings that could be dealt with by the demon elders. Xiaoqin, let me see what you can do now. If you can't protect yourself, then you are not qualified to protect the woman you love the most. Song did not rush to test his son, but instead gazed down at the now maturing steam bun for an adequate reply. Mother is my most beloved person. I will rely on my own ability to protect her for a lifetime. The steam bun's eyes became heavier and heavier as he slowly raised his hand. Then, from thin air, a sword materializes from nothing to fall into his grasp that vibrated at contact. He's still small, but the brisk wind that's blowing against his little figure didn't make him appear weak. Instead, it emphasized his determination and will. Smiling with pride in his face, Song was pleased by his son's reaction. This is my son, the prince of the demon realm. If he doesn't have the skill, then how is he supposed to shoulder the responsibility of protecting Yan Yan? A burst of wind explodes out of Bai Xiaoqin's little figure. Then as he pointed his weapon at the drawing wave of foes. He's no longer the innocent and naive child from way past after the experience over the past few months, but rather a miniature version of his old man, the demon king that rules all of demon kin. You people repeatedly refuse to listen, coming to make trouble time and time again. It's one thing to attack the demon realm. What's worse and unforgivable is causing me to be separated from mother's side for several months. I won't forgive any of you. For Bai Xiaoqin, the most sinful crime was and would always be separating him from Bai Yan. He has mommy issues, and it would be years before the boy come to terms with this fact. Reunion 1. Those foes in the front undoubtedly noticed what Ditsong was doing. With a sneer, they immediately charged at the young one to make this demon king regret that foolish decision. "Little Rice, let's go." Abrupt and out of place, Bai Xiaoqin's juvenile voice resonated through the night and signaled his partner to move. Little Rice, who's been standing behind the boy, heard this of course and promptly began his transformation. Bigger and bigger, the young man now grew into a giant white tiger that could make any foe tremble in fear at his mighty stature. But this alone wouldn't be enough to bring waves to this enormous battle, would it? Like the two who now joined the fight, the other three sacred beasts also attacked at the boy's signal. Raining down hellfire from the sky by Suzaku, drowning the foolish with the water by Black Turtle, and incinerating the damned by lightning at Xingyi's the dragon's command, the field has become a wrecking ball of blood and gore. During this entire time, Ditsong never once lifted a finger to help, not to his subordinates, nor to his boy. He was proud to see how effective his son performed in a real battle. For that, he won't fight yet unless he deemed the enemy too much for. However, not everyone felt the same way as this demon king who wanted to use this opportunity to test his boy. Di Xiaowon, the demon princess, appeared worried to the core as she watched the blood of the attackers stain her niece's face and clothes. She's already lost so much, therefore this didn't sit well with her heart. I really don't know what Big Bro is thinking. How can he let Xiaoqin take such a risk? Even if the four sacred beasts are fighting beside him, it's still too dangerous. What if he gets hurt? Not only will sister-in-law not forgive him, I won't be able to forgive myself. Every time Little Rice leaped forward with Bai Xiaoqin on his back, the demon princess would skip a beat in her heart and want to rush over to help. Auntie Xiaowan, Jean Tian, the little glutton, pulls at the girl's sleeve, his baby face curious and naive. Why is father making Big Brother fight those people alone? I'm worried. He's covered in so much blood. Looking down at the little glutton in her arms, Di Xiaowan could barely smile since she found this topic uncomfortable to discuss. Don't worry, Jean Tian. It's not your big brother's blood but someone else's. Your father is training Xiaoqin by having him fight. Is that so? The little glutton turns back to his older brother every day, turned the small head, continue to look at the white morning, his eyes twinkling starlight, full of envy. Big Brother is so strong, I also want to become as strong as Big Brother. He wants to fight alongside his big brother, but since he's so weak, there's no way his old man would let him go up there. But when he grows up though, he would definitely join his brother's side during a battle. Di Xiaowan's heart could melt after hearing that proclamation. Pinching the boy's cheek, she's all smiling at this lovely nephew of his. Reunion too. Don't worry, you will definitely grow to be as strong as your big brother. Really? Jean Tian's eyes shined with sparkles at the support. Auntie, when I grow up I will protect you. Di Xiaowan couldn't help but chuckle. It will be a very long time still before you grow old enough, you silly. No, it won't be long. Jean Tian shakes his head like a rocking drum to refute that claim. I heard Big Brother was already roaming the world with Mother when he was 5. When I turn 5 I too will be old enough to fight. Biting his thumb, that appearance couldn't get any more cuter. I'm already 2 this year, there's only 3 years left. Auntie, wait 3 years for me. Afterwards, I will be able to protect you. Big Brother said I must be a man, which means I need to shoulder the responsibility of protecting the girls of the family too. Since Auntie is a girl too, I will protect her when I grow up. Di Xiaowan couldn't take it anymore and began smooching the little glutton's cheek repeatedly. It's too lovely, the best thing she's ever heard from a kid in all her life. Then Auntie here will wait for that day. You are too sensible. After state teacher's death, this moment would be one of the brightest for the demon princess. There's been too many sad events lately, so she needed this lift up. You Auntie, you're making my face all icky. Wiping his face with that cheek, pouting in displeasure, Bug Brother said a man can only kiss the woman they like. Since I already gave Mother my heart, only Mother can kiss me. Twitching in the corner of her mouth, the demon princess almost wanted to cry foul. When did Jean Tian learn to be so sweet in his way of speaking? He's literally a second Bai Xiaoqin in the making. But it does make sense now that I thought about it. Big Bro and sister-in-law are both outstanding people. It's no wonder their children are so good as well. Oh, I'm so envious. However, their little play did not last for long after another louse explosion brought their attention back to the battlefield. It was the steam bun making another charge at the main forces of the attackers. The young teen was sweeping through their ranks. Bai Xiachen had slain more foes than he could ever count by this point. And finally, the last enemy had fallen to his sword with that final slash. Turning around, he returns to Di Tsong's side after sheathing the blade into the scabbard. Xiachen! Di Xiaowan didn't wait and ran over first to examine her nephew's health. Thankfully there's nothing wrong with the boy according to her assessment aside from the amount of blood covering that robe. I'm glad you're all right, Bai Xiachen returns with a smile at her over-panicking aunt. Auntie, you are worrying too much. See, I'm perfectly fine. Don't worry about me because I've grown up now. He's almost 9 years old now, no longer a kid that needs to be babied like his younger siblings. You little rascal, you will always be a child to your auntie here. Di Xiaowan puckers her lips to make herself look disappointed. Wait until you take a wife. Then I will say you are grown up. Reunion 3. Bai Xiachen's little face turned a couple of notches darker. After a moment of silence, I don't want a wife, I only want to be with my sister and mother. Oh! Di Xiaowan grinned mischievously. Then I ask you, does Dragoni have a pink piglet hanging around her lately? You mean Molly? What about him? Molly was originally a pet picked up Molly Shang who appeared out of nowhere one day. Turns out they weren't just some random strange, but a twist of fate that went back lifetimes. Take the winged piggy. His clan had a mission to protect Dragoni. Since the piggy's entire race has died out, the task naturally now fell upon him. However, due to the event of Bai Yen disappearing and Dragoni being unable to find her mother after awakening in that secret place, the pair separated for a while during the Celestial Realm War. But news travels fast. Molly recently got wind of Dragon returning to the Demon Realm. That's why the piggy secretly snuck away from his owner and hung around the Dragoness and wouldn't leave. It's nothing. I just feel that the pig and Dragoni are getting way too close. They're practically inseparable. I wonder what your mother would think about this. Isn't Dragoni her favored daughter-in-law? Aren't you afraid of the girl being snatched away by the piggy? Bai Xiachen was silent again, his face getting a little troubled. Molly is Dragoni's guard, and I don't want to marry a wife. Oh, but I don't think their relationship is that simple. Perhaps they're very close in fact. Bai Xiachen's face got darkly grim. Auntie, can you stop talking about this matter? And that has nothing to do with me. I'm starting to wonder if father is the one who sent you over tricked me into leaving mother's side. Father. Di Xiaowan made a puzzled face. This little guy. Didn't he always call his old man Batty father? Why the sudden change? Firming up on his young little face. Auntie, I have grown up already. Since I'm a grown-up, it's only normal that I change the way I address father. I'm not a 5-year-old baby anymore. The demon princess couldn't help but twitch in the face over that statement. What difference is there between a 5 and 9 years old? Aren't you still a child anyways? Father, the steam bun then turns to Ditsong. I have dealt with these people, can we go look for mother now? I alone am enough in looking for your mother. You stay at home and wait for me. The Demon King nonchalantly states this with a radiant smirk. Didn't you say we will go together? Why won't you let me go with you? The arrangement made the steam bun very unhappy. He misses Bai Yen so much yet his father won't take him along. You've grown up now so you can't stick to your mother like you used to. Duh. That's what you said just now, isn't it? Grown-ups don't stick around their parents all the time. They must learn to do things on their own. Duh. Bai Xiachen dropped his jaws in stunned silence. Did I just smashed my own feet? Quickly coming back to reality at the dreaded situation he himself created. Actually, I'm still a baby. Who's not a baby in front of their mother? Suddenly from out of the blue, Bai Xiachen's figure went stiff as a rock. He felt something. To be exact, it's 2 familiar energy signatures quickly making their way over to his location. Turning his head in the direction like a robot, he stares hard to make out the contour of the two. Father, am I hallucinating? Isn't that mother and little sister? Reunion 4. Di Tsong's sight followed his son's gaze and landed on that magnificent figure of his wife. Immediately, that stern and lecturing face disappeared, replaced by a warm and gentle light flowing forward from within. You're back. Bai Yen didn't respond to her husband's tender words though. Instead, she scanned the battlefield to take in everything that's happening. Then as soon as her eyes fell upon the teen that's been covered in blood, the demon queen's composure crumbled and got all anxious. Xiachen, how are you? Are you hurt anywhere? She grabs his shoulder and nervously examined him from top to bottom. Blooming with the brightest smile that could overshadow the most dire of nights, the boy finally revealed a happiness he's been withholding since that dreadful day. "Don't worry, mother, these bloodstains are all other people's. See, I'm perfectly fine." But even if the steam bun said that to assure his mother, Bai Yan's heart didn't settle and continued her examination. Only when she's confirmed his condition to its fullest does she relent. Thank goodness he's all right. No one knows this, but the Demon Queen's heart nearly popped out of her own chest there when she saw the blood-stained-looking sight of her eldest son. In all her years, she's never allowed the steam bun to be harmed, not ever. Song continued to wait from his spot, but after being repeatedly ignored, this dominant man finally grew irritated and thought exercising his own son so he would buzz off at his important reunion. Yen. Reaching out with a hand, the Demon King tyrannically brings his wife into his embrace to show who's in charge. "You don't have to be afraid. If I'm here, nothing will happen to him." In actual fact, Song believed that a boy getting hurt once in a while didn't amount to anything, hence his decision to send the steam bun into battle. Besides, his focus never left the boy during the actual fighting. Even if Bai Xiaochen did get into lethal danger, he would have intervened at the last moment to ensure his safety. "It's good that everything's all right." Bai Yan's mood finally calmed down after that statement. Leaning her head in against her husband's chest, she felt secure and happy after being away for so long. Song, "Our children are my wife, all three of them. They're her driving force. Only by becoming stronger would she be able to preserve their peace. Father, mother is likely tired. You should take her back for rest after such a long, arduous journey. I will take care of my little brother and sister during this period." Bai Xiaochen couldn't ignore the heartache in his own chest after seeing how exhausted his own mother has become. "Mother is already very tired, and I scared her with my appearance just now. If she doesn't go back and rest, then she might really faint." Song didn't argue with that logic because he felt the same way. Picking up his wife into a princess hold, the Demon King slowly strode towards the palace. "Big sister, can you play with me?" It's unknown when this occurred, but while everyone was busy primarily watching the departing backs of the two lovebirds, Tian the little glutton had somehow found his way over to Song's side and tugged at her sleeve. He's all smiles and hopeful in his chubby face. Song, who came here for the first time, naturally felt intimidated by the new environment. However, this sudden intrusion onto her personal space by a grinning baby boy left her all uncomfortable and awkward. Nevertheless, she quickly pulled her hand away and stepped back. Reunion 5. Song doesn't like being close to people. As for why she's able to speak with Ling Yan before, that's only because she's a girl and about her age. But this little guy, she doesn't know him, nor has she any experience in dealing with the opposite sex. "Big sister, why are you ignoring me?" Looking all wronged, Tian the little glutton moves forward in an attempt to grab that hand pathetically. Song couldn't take that face and hurried turned to the pipsqueak for help. Without a single word first, Ling Yan snapped and slapped the hand of her twin brother away. "Big sister Song is my friend. You're not allowed to scare her." That harsh lecturing only made the boy more pathetic in the face. Rubbing the back of his hand as it hurts, he gets all sobby in the nose. "But I want to play with her." "Not allowed." Forking her arms around the waist, Ling Yan makes a very fierce face. "She does not know you, so you're not allowed to force her, do you understand? This guy is clearly my older brother. How come it feels like I must teach him everything? What if he scares Sister Song away? If that happens, then I won't have any friends again. Does that mean I can play with her after we get acquainted?" Tian instantly perked up and asked with a broad smile. Nodding after a brief thought, I guess. Only after you're familiar with her, understand?" Okay. Tian cheers in delight at the go-ahead. Turning back to his new target, "Big sister, if you be my friend, I can let you have all my toys aside from the delicious foods." In the baby boy's view, the number one importance remains to be the food he gets from the kitchen. Everything else becomes secondary in his world. Unfortunately, aside from those snacks and foods he saved in hindsight, the boy didn't have anything else to offer, which made his promise mute. Flushing red from the conversation, Song appears awkward and unsure of how to reply to that olive branch. "Second brother, you mustn't pester her like this. Here, I'll let you play with my pet instead." After a second of rummaging, Ling Yan brings out the snoozing Chi-Chi from her pocket. "This is little Chi-Chi. He's my new pet and partner. Be nice to him, okay? You can't bully him. Xueqi was originally soundly asleep when he got disturbed by the ruckus. However, he never would have thought of the horror that awaited him after rubbing his dozy eyes awake. Specifically, it's a baby face of the chubby proportion. Usually that wouldn't scare the little fellow, but the boy's lips were clearly drooling. It's a chicken, and it looks so tasty. Gulp. After saying this, Xianxia made sure to swallow his saliva to pull back in the fluid quickly dripping out of his mouth. Xueqi! Squealing in fright, the poor bird jumped in fear and puffed up his feathery furs. You don't have to be afraid, Xueqi, he won't eat you. Ling Yan understood her partner's woes and patted that head to console him. Once she's done that, the pipsqueak then follows up with a slap across Xianxia's head from the rear. You are not allowed to scare my little partner, nor are you allowed to eat him. Rubbing the back of his head in an aggrieved manner, Xianxia shrinks his head in. Big brother, how come Ling Yan is so mean after she took a trip? Reunion 6. Girls being a little bit fierce and mean. Isn't that normal? Bai Xiaoqin's eyes were full of doting light. Besides, Ling Yan is so cute even when she's acting all fierce. Xianxia the little glutton didn't feel the same way though and felt wronged by the maltreatment. In his mind, this version of his twin sister wasn't right. She's more like a volcano ready to erupt, a totally different person from that mild-tempered sister he knew. Xueqi. It's then the golden chicklet took this opportunity and jumped off of the pipsqueak's hand. Hiding behind the girl's back, he only shows his head out while staring at the little glutton, which promptly drew more attention. Xueqi! You're so noisy, little Xueqi. Dissatisfied in her face, she pouts those cheeks up. I already told you my second brother won't hurt you. Why are you squealing so much for? Controlling his own frantic emotion, Xueqi remains vigilant at the little glutton like he's going to pounce while he's not looking. The reasoning. That's obvious. The drooling face from Xianxia didn't escape his memory. Someone that drools are the type that likes to eat, and the type that likes to eat wouldn't listen to reasoning when they bite. But I still prefer playing with big sister there. Xianxia bemoans at his twin sister. Then you will need her agreement. Second brother, we are not young anymore. You need to be more mature and sensible. Forcing others to play with you isn't right. Ling Yan's voice got serious and she began lecturing her counterpart like a good teacher. This time Xianxia went all quiet as he locked onto Ji Song with beaming flashes of light from those eyes. You are still small, Ling Yan, Bai Xiaoqin caresses his little sister's head, those eyes gentle and doting. Even if another 2 decades pass, you will still be Big Brother's little sister. A child that needs his protection for life. When meeting her older brother's gaze, the pipsqueak finally revealed her sunshine-like smile. Stretching out those arms. Big brother hugs. Imagine having a little sister that's soft, cuddly and cute, asking you for a hug. Would you do it? Of course you would. Crouching down with all the sibling love he could muster, Bai Xiaoqin happily picks up the baby girl to discover she's a little heavy. Ling Yan has grown again. You're heavier than I remember. That's because I have grown up now, big brother. Giggling with delight, the pipsqueak fiddles with the boy's hair as she spoke. And I also saw grandfather. Grandfather? Bai Xiaoqin appears startled by the word. It's true that it's been a lot of days since he saw their grandfather. He too misses him. Why didn't grandfather come back with you? From within the bright eyes of the pipsqueak came a puzzled light. I don't know, Mother said grandfather is unable to leave with us for the time being. Only Mother knows the specifics. Hearing this, Bai Xiaoqin didn't press for the details and instead shifted his sight onto the new girl Ji Song. In reaction to this attention, Song herself shyly looked away to avoid eye contact. Sure, they're the same age, but the majestic air of royalty could not be denied in the steambun's existence anymore. He's grown and matured. Ling Yan, who is she? You mean Sister Song? Ling Yan giggles with delight at the opportunity to introduce her new friend. She is a good friend I met at grandfather's home. Mother healed her illness so she's with us now. Big brother, you mustn't let the others bully her, okay? Reunion 7. All right, I'll send an order down later so that none is allowed to bully your good friend. Big brother is the best. Clinging onto the steambun's neck, Ling Yan's smile was more brilliant than the sun itself. I love Big Brother the most. What about me, Xianxia immediately got anxious after hearing that from his twin sister. Tugging at her sleeve. Ling Yan not like me anymore? His tone sounded very aggrieved, like he's ready to cry if she says no. looking down at her twin brother with a mischievous grin. Of course I like second brother too. Even if second brother snatches my food away, bully little Chi-Chi, I still like second brother. Chi-Chi nearly rolled off the pipsqueak's shoulder after that statement. What does she mean by that? Does she think I am so easily bullied by others? The little fluff feather wanted to erupt at the indignation. However, right as Chi-Chi's about to protest, Bai Xiaoqin's menacing gaze shot over and deflated his air instantly, patting his poor chest as he heaves heavily at the pressure. So scary. Why is the little mistress's second brother so mischievous and wants to eat me? Then there's this big brother of hers. He's so scary that my heart nearly leaped out there when he glanced over. Quivering all over, Chi-Chi uses his tiny little wings to cover his head in an attempt to lower his own existence. Ling Yan is so good. Restoring his gentle and doting face, Bai Xiaoqin's demeanor right now only appears when he's beside his sister and mother. If it's anyone else, he would only make that cold menacing expression as he did to the bird. Big brother, I'm getting sleepy. Rubbing her drowsy eyes. I want to sleep. Okay, big brother will take you home to sleep. Sweeping his gaze over the demon soldiers present, he spoke with authority and power. I'm leaving the cleaning of the battlefield to you all. Do not leave any body parts behind. I do not want the field to smell like rot when I come to inspect later. Understood, Prince. The leading demon commander complies by punching his chest plate in accordance with the order. Frowning in the face, the steam didn't like the title of being called the Prince at all. He's used to being addressed by name or something cuter. But what other option do I have? Jean Tian remains too young, so he can't shoulder the responsibility yet. A few more years, only a few more years later, then he could toss the burden on that twerp. By then, I will be able to bring Ling Yan with me and follow mother and father around through the world. Without knowing he's already been sold by the one he idolized, Jean Tian the little glutton continues to follow from behind with his toddling legs. However, the boy didn't forget to cast another look towards Song, who also stood next to him. Of course, his instincts told him to reach out to hold the sister's hand so she would play with him. But the lecture from the twin sister reigned supreme and snapped him out of the moment. Big sister, don't be afraid. Making a broad smile like a dote. I'm not a bad person. Taken aback at first, Ji Song gradually looked over to the boy with uncertainty. However, that uncertainty quickly turned into hilarious laughter after seeing the dumb and silly face the boy's making. Realizing she's lost her composure and acted in a rude manner, the girl swiftly pulled herself together and returned to her embarrassed state. Still making that dumb-looking face, the little glutton didn't realize he just made a hit on a female. Big sister, your laugh. It's so beautiful. Ji Song inwardly gasped at the comment. Ling Yan also said something like that before. There's no lie in the little glutton's innocent comment. The girl really does look good when she's smiling. However, her illness had kept her from realizing this fact until now, so it's good others are staring to say this more often around her. Of course, she still pales in comparison to Ling Yan and Bai Yan, that's a fact. Biting his thumb in hesitation, Jean Tian suddenly did something out of expectation by reaching into his pocket and pulling out an object. To be specific, it's a pastry the boy had saved from earlier, and he's offering it to the girl like a rose bouquet. Reunion 8. This is the laurel cake mother made for me. Auntie used a special spell to preserve it for me. I'll give you this piece to eat. His eyes were full of reluctance when trying to move away from the pastry. Seeing the sort of face Jean Tian was making, Ji Song immediately shook her head. No, you eat it. No, big sister, you take it. Once mother takes a break, she will make more for me. Despite saying that, the drooling saliva coming out of his mouth said it all. That a person's words are not always the truth. In reality, even if Bai Yan does make more cake for him, it wouldn't matter. Di Xiao won the demon princess would immediately confiscate everything to save for later. The reasoning? It's because the aunt was afraid the boy would get a tooth cavity from eating so many sugary sweets. This laurel cake was his portion for the day, meaning he won't get any more until tomorrow. Seeing how determined the boy was about giving this gift, Ji Song knew it was better to accept it. Placing the cake to her mouth, the girl takes a small bite to discover the wonders of this fantastic object. It's sweet and smooth to the tongue, an experience she's never encountered before in the monarch manner. This was truly delicious. Big sister, how is it? Jean Tian asks with hopeful light in those eyes. Flushing red from the attention, Ji Song murmurs her answer. It's delicious. Really? jumping with glee. Then can you play with me later? I don't have any company here in the demon realm. Meeting the boy's gaze for the first time since their meeting, Ji-song found herself unable to reject him. Okay. First reason being that she already accepted his gift, so it's only proper she returns the favor. The second being she doesn't want to be a shut-in anymore. That's awesome. Jean Tian became a beet red due to the excitement. This laurel cake is worth it. At least now this big sister will play with me. Let's go, I will show you around. Without ulterior motive, Jean Tian smoothly winded his hand around Song's and toddled away forward towards the palace. Demon Palace. Right now Dragoni was making a bored face as she plopped her chin against both palms. However, this innocent face was currently sitting atop of a man dressed in a tight-fitting black suit. He's likely an enemy that tried to sneak into the palace during the battle to carry out some sort of mission but was stopped by the dragoness when she caught him. Dragoni, shouldn't we go check out the battlefield outside? A milky-looking doll of a baby asks from the side. His face surprisingly cute despite being half-naked and only wearing a doo-doo, Chinese underwear. I'd like to go too, said Dragoni as she glanced down at the man she's sitting atop of. But we have to keep an eye on the palace. What if another person sneaks into here and makes trouble? Who would protect Mother's home? We can't let that happen. Molly the winged piggy nods in his human form, toddling over to jump atop of the unconscious assailant. Dragoni, I'm just wondering, but do you like the queen more or do you prefer the prince more? The dragoness didn't need to think at all in answering. Of course it's Mother. She gave me a new life, and for that I am forever grateful. She will always be the most important person in my life. His Highness Xianxia can only be second in line. Oh. Molly scratches the back of his in confusion due to not understanding. From his point of view, Dragoni cares a lot about the prince, so it doesn't really match up with the girl's claim. What's more, he could feel the dislike coming off of the prince when he's around Dragoni during the pair's interaction. He's like a third leg that shouldn't be there when the two are together. Dragoni, am I ugly? Molly suddenly decides to ask this after a thought. Does the prince not like flying piggies? No, he doesn't. Dragoni turns to her companion with a look of confusion. Why are you asking this for? I've felt that for a while now. The prince doesn't like me very much. Why? Am I not cute? Or is it because I'm not a girl? Di Xiaowan's decision won. Exactly right as Dragoni wanted to reply to Molly's question, the girl suddenly saw the two familiar figures slowly coming in from the outside. Quickly getting up with the excitement on that face, she rushes over to their location. Mother! Dragoni, what are you doing here? Bai Yan didn't expect to find her adopted daughter here in the palace with only Molly by her side. She expected at least some sort of protection. Mother, I'm here to guard the palace. I was afraid someone might try sneaking in here while the battle was taking place outside. You see, I caught this guy who was acting all creepy in the shadows. Dragoni then stomped down at her unconscious victim to emphasize the point. I knocked him out, Mother. What should we do with him? Following the indicated finger's direction, the demon queen's sight fell upon the unmoving person lying on the ground. Deetsong, call someone to take this guy away to the dungeon. I want to find out the reason for their attack on the demon realm. The demon king didn't do that though. Instead, he wrapped his hands around the woman's waist and explained, I've caught several people like this one before, but no matter what I did, they wouldn't talk. I doubt this guy would talk either. Bai Yan merely smirked at the idea of a prisoner that wouldn't talk. Take this pill, Deetsong. It will make him spill everything that he knows. After saying this, Bai Yan took out a porcelain bottle from her storage ring and handed it over to her husband. Okay, I'll go right away. The demon king happily reached over to take the drug, but not before giving a peck on her cheek before readying to leave. Wait for me in the bedchamber, it won't take long. His voice was hoarse and magnetic, having the power of drawing the opposite sex over to him in the most seductive manner. Alarmed by the remark, Bai Yan promptly stops him with a finger on the lip. Stop it, there are children around. It's okay, they don't understand. Deetsong grinned with his teeth showing, that appearance dumb and silly for what's to come tonight. Dragoni obediently nodded her head in compliance as well. Father is right, I don't understand anything, you can continue doing that. Molly, we're leaving, let's go. Pretending like she's not heard anything, the young lass rushed out of the courtyard with her baby companion who toddled from behind. The battle is over, big brother Xianxia must be back as well. Whenever this dragoness thought about her steam bun, the girl would always have a smile on that face. Even though she herself doesn't realize this yet, her heart's clearly drawn towards the boy. Song. Bai Yan felt tarnished and embarrassed at the way they're behaving. Gnashing her teeth. Hold yourself back when we're in front of the kids. Indeed, Molly doesn't understand what they were doing, but Dragoni was not a child. She fully understood the meaning behind Song's last comment. Ignoring the annoyance in his wife's face, Song leans in and kisses her like a tyrant to douse those flames. It's always worked before, so he figured it would work again, thus causing their bodies to mingle together in the most sweaty and suffocating manner. If not for the unconscious victim coughing and moaning after regaining his senses after a while, the pair likely could have gone at it till the end of times. Di Xiaowan's decision too. Be good and wait for me to come back. Miss you, the man's ambiguous voice vibrated through her ears, tingling and numbing her senses. Naturally, Bai Yan got black lines running through her face over the man's antics. Even after all these years, she still has trouble handling her husband's shocking words and out-of-nowhere lustful surge. This guy, seriously. No matter the time of day, he can be so utterly ignorant of common sense. Thank goodness Dragoni and Molly left on their own, otherwise. Oh no, what if we end up teaching the kids all our naughty things without realizing it? What if we taught Ling Yan and Jean Tian without noticing? Understanding he's rattled his wife enough with those teases, Song lets go and locks onto the man on the ground had begun to stir. What's your purpose here? He speaks with an air of murderous intent. The black-masked assailant sneered as he struggled to crawl up. I would never say. It does not matter what you do to me. I won't reveal the purpose of our attack. Smirking at the expected reply, Song didn't get angry and got increasingly more dangerous as he played with the porcelain bottle in his hand. Song, don't give him the drug here. I'm afraid the after-effects. Bai Yan purses her lips into a thin line. I'm afraid the after-effects will scare a lot of people. After hearing this, Song's legs stopped, his sight swinging around to meet the woman. Okay, I will find another place that's quieter. Standing under the blood-colored moonlight, a certain young lass was standing at the main gate of the palace staring off into the distance like she's waiting for someone. Dragoni. When will His Highness the Prince return? Yawning due to the boredom of standing around, Molly rubs his drowsy eyes. I don't know, but if the king is back then Big Brother Xiaxia must be coming back too. If Bai Yan was the dazzling sun of this world, Dragoni would surely be the enchanting rose. She may be young in appearance still, but the style and air unique to herself was definitely starting to show seductively. It's then during their conversation a familiar aura caught the girl's senses. Lighting up in the eye at the familiar figure, she smiles broadly as she waves her hand into the air to welcome the young teen. Big Brother Xiaxia. Likewise, the steam bun also noticed the girl waving at himself. However, before he could react by waving back, Ling Yan, who was sitting on his arm, suddenly jumped down and ran at the dragoness. Sister Dragoni, I'm back. As always, the pipsqueak was friendly towards those she's on good terms with. A bit taken aback by the sudden peachy girl who had thrown herself at her legs, Dragoni had to spend a moment to process everything. Immediately, she reaches down to keep the baby girl from falling over due to the excitement of their reunion. Sister Dragoni, how come you only noticed my big brother and not me? Ling Yan pouts after being lifted up. Just now, she was clearly riding on her big brother's arm, so it made no sense for her sister Dragoni not to notice her existence. Am I not cute enough that she would overlook me? You're too small still, that's why I didn't notice you. Dragoni rubs the baby's head in a cheerful manner as her excuse. Is that really the case? Doubtful still, the pipsqueak chews on her thumb like she's being tricked. Suddenly, the pipsqueak's line of sight caught a glimpse of Molly in his human form. Blinking those big blue eyes. Sister Dragoni, who is this little brother? He is so white and chubby, he's so cute, little brother. Molly immediately exploded. I have lived for many years, I am not your little brother. It's true. Molly may appear to be a baby boy in his human form, downright a newborn if must be said, but he's quite old already if counting the years he's lived. Issue was his size and appearance. He never grows. Di Xiaowan's decision 3. The pipsqueak forks her hands around the waist and gets all discontent. You are not even my height, so you must be a little brother. If you grow taller than me, then I will admit you're bigger than me. Molly found himself unable to retort against that logic. First looking down at himself, then at Ling Yan's superior body size, he promptly deflated due to it being the truth. Is it my fault that I'm not taller? But I've clearly lived for many years. Dragoni, she's bullying me. Molly turns to tug at the dragoness's sleeve for help, his face all wronged and pitiful. Due to how small and chubby he was in his human form, the piggy was so darn cute that it's a sin not to cuddle him. Bai Xiaochen reacted instantly to this picture. For some reason beyond his understanding, the demon prince didn't feel well inside over the piggy entangling himself with Dragoni. Maybe it's because I've taken Dragoni as my real sister, that's why I don't want a stinking boy by her side. Bai Xiaochens finally let up over that pretentious reasoning. Immediately, he shot that intimidating stare towards Molly, who did no wrong in this situation. You keep your distance from Dragoni. Molly naturally didn't understand what he did, so his already wronged heart became even sadder. Why? Dragoni is still young. That's why I must protect her. You are a boy, and boys will try to abduct her. This Molly is too sticky, often wrapping himself behind Dragoni's back. Doesn't he know the difference between man and woman? The stinking brat will probably follow her to the toilet too if he could. What is abduction? Molly blinks his eyes in a puzzled manner. Bai Xiaochen instantly deflated as the air squeezed out of him. You wanting to protect Dragoni is a good thing, but you are too sticky and clingy to her. It's making me doubt your motives for something else. Like right now, the palace won't have any danger that could possibly harm her. Why do you keep following her everywhere with that in mind? Not to mention, your strength is nowhere close to being as strong as hers. How are you supposed to protect her then? Molly scratched the back of his head, finding the logic of the princely steam bun reasonable. Nevertheless, he still doesn't want to leave Dragoni knowing he's not much help. Dragoni, did mother go back to rest yet? Bai Xiaochen turns away from the piggy boy and asks the girl instead. Nodding her head. Aha. Mother is resting inside the bedchamber, and father is currently out interrogating the prisoner. That's good then. Ling Yan is likely tired too, so I'll take her inside for rest. Also, Jean Tian will bring another girl back with him as well. She's a friend of Ling Yan's, so help her settle in, will you? Okay. Dragoni nods again like an obedient child. In light of this, Bai Xiaochen didn't relent and shot another look at Molly as a warning before slowly heading inside. Big brother. Ling Yan suddenly spoke up after they were halfway inside. Do you not like that little brother? I think he's cute. It's not that I don't like him. He doesn't hate Molly, it's just, every time he saw him sticking to Dragoni, he would inexplicably get all annoyed and irritated. I got it. The pipsqueak breaks out into a jolly giggle. That is because the little brother is constantly pestering around Sister Dragoni. Big brother is afraid he will snatch her away from our home, right? Bai Xiaochen didn't verbally respond to the baby girl. Instead he admitted it by simply being quiet. Don't worry, big brother. Sister Dragoni won't be snatched away and will stay with us. Also, grandfather already told me that I must not miss out on someone I like if I encounter them. Although I don't understand what grandfather really means, but, from what I can tell, the little brother probably likes Sister Dragoni a lot. That's likely the reasoning for him bugging her so much. Di Xiaowan's decision for Bai Xiaochen's complexion fell into a dark abyss. What did you say grandfather said? Grandfather, he said I mustn't give up if I ever encounter a man I like in the future. He told me he will also try to persuade you and father. Big brother, what does he mean by a man I like? Is it like you and father, that kind of like? Ling Yan's eyes were moving curiously back and forth in anticipation for her older brother's explanation. She's been wondering about that for a while and needed clarity. Ling Yan, Bai Xiaochen gets all serious in his voice. You mustn't listen to grandfather, none of those men are good people. They will pick on you. I will also tell father about what he said and that he's teaching you the wrong stuff. How could he ever allow such a thing? Whoever dares to abduct his family's females are going to have their legs broken. Ling Yan complied with that demand by making a muffled sound, but her heart didn't agree and found her grandfather's words more truthful. Then what about Sister Dragoni? She's not allowed either. Bai Xiaochen stubbornly attempts to squash any of the flames that are growing. If someone tries to take Dragoni, then I'll break their leg. Molly is young still, perhaps he doesn't have any motive, but what about after he grows older? Nothing was certain. Ling Yan, you mustn't listen to grandfather from now on. Let's go back and rest. I'm sure you're tired after being on a long journey. Okay. The pipsqueak gets all quiet and leans in against her older brother's back as she gets carried. Since she's so small and tiny, her weight wasn't all that big. However, the boy too was nothing but a child. Therefore, it does put a strain on his body while walking towards the room. Big brother's back is so comfortable. Late into the day with the sun setting over the mountain, Bai Yan was lazily leaning against the bed as she rested. However, her peaceful moment suddenly came to a halt when the door to her bedchamber got pushed open and in came that manly figure. How did it go? Bai Yan quickly sat up and asked. He spilled everything. Di Tsong happily came over and sat beside his wife's side, those hands naughty and misbehaving. I'm curious, what sort of drug is that? How come he was so afraid after I forced it down his throat? Happy to be asked, Bai Yan happily obliged the answer. That's a drug I accidentally created by mistake years ago. I call it the Great 18th Hell Dan Pill. If someone consumes it, they will fall into an illusion of suffering in the 18th floors of hell itself. This includes all the pain, hardship, and terrible memories of his life. Alright, the speed frame is also warped after they take it. To us an hour may have passed, but to that guy, he would have already suffered for 1,000 years in that illusion. Bai Yan pauses to tap her own chin with a finger, wondering if she should say the next part. The illusionary fantasy never stops unless someone deliberately breaks it like you did. So, imagine what he must have felt like after seeing you again. It's obvious he would spill everything to avoid being stuck in that fantasy. Di Xiaowan's decision, 5. Di Tsong, what information did he spill? Let me hear it. Bai Yan frowns and continues to ask. Do you recognize the monarch dust from the dust frost domain? The man answers with a question of his own. Narrowing her eyes in at that detail, the demon queen could already guess where this conversation was leading. That day during the attack on the heavenly flame domain, there were a lot of people, so I don't know if they came as well. Is the matter related to place? Yes, the man confessed that he was sent by the monarch dust to steal something from the demon realm. That thing is a red bead, so I suspect the death of state teacher is related to these people from the dust frost domain. A red bead? Bai Yan blinked and thought back to examining her daughter's body and that beady little object placed near her heart. But before the woman could exclaim due to this connection, the door to the bedchamber was once again shoved open. Standing at the doorway was Di Xiaowan, the demon princess. Her beautiful face was not elegant nor kind, but a burning rage of hatred. You hear everything? Di Tsong didn't need to guess why his sister was so upset. Truth was he knew the girl was eavesdropping the entire time but didn't stop it. After all, she had the right to know since state teacher did die because of those people. She's entitled to know who the murderer was. Brother, so the one who caused state teacher's death is that monarch dust, you certain? Clenching her fist, Di Xiaowan was trembling all over due to the intense emotion swelling forward. Monarch dust. Reciting that name, the princess's eyes got all red and frightening. Despite being able to come out of the pain of loss in recent days, the ache remains and so does the hatred. She merely hid it inside not to worry the little ones. But make no mistake. If given the opportunity, this girl would crush the ones responsible for her man's death. That's a given. With your current strength, don't mention revenge. Anyone those domains can destroy you. Don't forget, your powers are mostly gone after you marked state teacher with your beast pearl. How do you expect to avenge him in your current state? That cruel smash of reality caused the princess to freeze. Slowly closing her eyes, Di Xiaowan couldn't deny what her brother was saying. Nevertheless, the determination won't be stopped in those eyes of hers. Brother, I must avenge him. No matter the price, I will do it. The departure of state teacher had forced this lady who only knows how to hide behind her older brother and state teacher to grow up overnight. She's responsible and no longer the sweet dumbaklutz that would easily trust anyone that comes her way. But the cost was her innocence, her purity. Watching this unfamiliar version of her friend, Bai Yan felt uncomfortably sour inside at what had become of this sweet girl. Xiaowan, can you leave this matter to us, okay? Her tone was unusually gentle. Believe in us, we will certainly avenge state teacher and help you find his reincarnation. Pursing her lips into a thin line, Di Xiaowan looks towards the demon queen with those tears-ridden eyes. Sister-in-law, I also want to help. I know my enemies are mighty, but I am not afraid. I don't want to simply do nothing. Di Xiaowan's decision, 6. How can I accept not doing anything when the bastard responsible for state teacher's death is found? The demon princess vows to herself not to be useless anymore. Di Tsong's sight lands on his younger sister, that gaze growing meaningful. You are willing to do anything for state teacher? Not afraid of suffering? Not afraid of danger? He remembers a few years ago he had wanted to throw this sister of his into the secret domain used by the demon realm to train. However, the lass's personality kept the girl from going forward with the plan. Now that she's suggesting something of this line on her own volition, why not take advantage of this and put her through the ordeal? I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of anything as long as I can avenge state teacher. She states this with firm light in those eyes. Fine, if that's what you wish, then I got an idea. You will go through a strict period of harsh training in a special place. If you can make it through the whole ordeal, then not only will your strength increase, your beast pearl will also return. I will ask you a second time, are you certain about this? Di Tsong narrows in his eyes until it's a thin line, making sure there was no hesitation in his sister's face. Sure enough, Di Xiaowan nods again with firm conviction. I have decided, I won't back down regardless of the danger. Brother, I will come back from the training and avenge state teacher personally. Very well. Outside the demon realm is a portal. The space tunnel leads to a fantasy world similar to ancient times. There, monsters and savages are abundant, but likewise, the rewards are also great if you can overcome the strong there. You better not regret the decision. Once you are inside that place, even I won't be able to save you in time if danger falls on your head. Di Tsong gives one final warning. Brother, you know very well state teacher died in order to protect me that day. He never cowered before the enemy. If I don't even have the courage to avenge him, then what qualifications do I have left to seek someone that is as courageous as him out again? I would be too ashamed. There are countless beads of tears flowing down the girl's face, causing a bittersweet flavor to hover in the air. If that's your final decision, then I won't try to persuade you. I'll inform the elders later to send you. But know this. That world may be a fantasy, but dying there still applies to you. Once dead, you can never return. After hearing this, Di Xiaowan did not make any sort of fearful expression, but that didn't mean Bai Yan wasn't affected by that last comment. The demon queen honestly didn't want the lass to head into such a dangerous world, but this was the demon princess's decision. She's not in a position to deny such a thing. Brother, you don't have to worry about me. I will definitely return. Even if I die, it will be after I avenged state teacher and kill the one responsible for his death. When stating this part, the girl's fist was a tight ball of hatred. Sister-in-law, I know what you are thinking and how worried you are. You know, I've liked you since the first time we met. I was so ignorant and foolish back then. Always hiding behind your back when big brother scolds me. But now I know that is me being irresponsible. I cannot continue like that. I need to grow and find my own way. So, let me go and do this alone, okay? Whatever happens would happen. Di Xiaowan understood her decision today, won't regret it. Bai Yan's expression eased up after that plea from the girl. Originally she intended to do something in the shadows to protect her, but it's obvious Di Xiaowan read what's on her mind. I see, but take this first. The storage bag contains all of the medicine and drugs I've made recently. Do not decline, otherwise I will not agree to you going alone. Bai Yan firmly demands this as a compromise. Di Xiaowan's decision 7. Sister-in-law. Di Xiaowan wiped some of the tears from the corner of her eyes due to how moved she was. You are so good to me. What are you talking about? I have only one sister like you. How can I not care? What's more, these are only medicine and drugs that I'm giving you. I can always make more in the future, so it's of no loss to me. Bai Yan gently pats the princess's hand to reassure her it's going to be all right. You have to remember, we are all waiting for you at home. So return to us safely, okay? Making a slight nod as a promise, Di Xiaowan had so much to say right now. Unfortunately, her emotions are best kept inward until they meet again, for this departure could mean months or even years before she returns. Mother! A soft voice suddenly came over from the outside. Bai Yan looked over and saw it was none other than her daughter Dragoni standing at the doorway. Perhaps it's due to their attention being preoccupied, but they didn't notice the young lass's arrival at all until now. Mother, can I go with Aunt Xiaowan? Dragoni asks with bright light in those eyes. Growing uncomfortable tense after that request, Bai Yan felt nervous in the heart. Why do you ask that? Didn't father explain already? That secret world is based on the ancient world. When I fell unconscious that day inside that special dimension, I believe I met my true father. The young and childish voice of Dragoni actually left Bai Yen stunned for a proper response. My real father seems to have come from ancient times. Maybe, if I go into that fantasy world, I would be able to find some clues about my origin. After throwing out her reasoning, the dragoness forms the brightest smile she could muster. And I can help protect Aunt Xiaowan while I'm there. Mother, please let me go. But Bai Yen sounded hesitant and worried. But right as the demon queen's about to speak, Di Song had grabbed one of her hands to reassure her with his iconic smirk. Let the girl go. Shooting her head over to meet the man's gaze. Why? Dragoni is right. She might be able to find some clues about her origin in that fantasy world since it is based upon the real thing. I've explained before, her background is not ordinary. It's her right to pursue the truth about her life. Bai Yen didn't like how things were panning out but knew he's right. Okay. Bai Yen finally relents. She could continue to worry about her daughter's safety and try to protect her like a sheltered girl, but that would make her a horrible parent in that case. A parent must guide their child, not blindly hide them from the horrors of the world. You must pay attention to your safety. If something is wrong, leave the fantasy world immediately, understand? Di Song responded to her demand instantly. Yen, I need you to understand that fantasy world is not so simple. Once you go in, you can't come back out so easily. Bai Yan's literally skipped a beat after hearing her husband's sentence. Not easy to come back out after going in? Do you know why I didn't let Xueqi go into that place for his personal training? It's precisely because of that reasoning. I worried for his safety and ability to cope with such unpredictability. It's not a world where one can come out as they please. It needs a key. Then what key do they need to come out? Bai Yen urgently asks with worry all over the face. I do not know the exact details either. Di Song sounds apologetic. Because that fantasy world was created long before the establishment of the demon realm, neither or anyone here knows how it exactly works. What I can be certain of is that the key is an opportunity provided by that world. It's different every time. Di Xiaowan's decision, 8. Have you been in there before? Yes, I've been to the fantasy world, and I've been there twice before. Once was 1,000 years ago, before encountering his wife another time. It was 100 years ago. Every time he leaves it would require him passing the requirements set upon him by that world. Therefore, Di Song didn't have absolute confidence in predicting the dangers or hardship that might befall those who entered. It's precisely because I've been there that I know the horror inside that fantasy world. And, aside from me who entered from the demon realm, everyone else who entered it has never returned. He did not want to scare Bai Yen, but lying regarding a matter of this proportion would be incredibly stupid. Furthermore, keeping this detail from his own sister and Dragoni would be even more foolish since those two are going to be experiencing it firsthand. Big brother, you need to stop scaring me, Di Xiaowan makes a reluctant smile. I must go forward with this. It's my only chance to grow. Dragoni echoed the same opinion from her side. I'm going too. I'm not afraid of anything, and I believe I can come back. Very well, if that's what both of you have decided then get ready to go right away. Bai Yen shows a bittersweet face. If those 3 kids find out that the both of you are going to such a dangerous place then they will certainly try to stop you. Maybe Xueqi would even follow you into that fantasy world. Di Xiaowan promptly puffs up her chest to make a strong appearance. Big brother, I will go back and pack my things. Later, have First Elder come over at night to pick us up. Me and Dragoni can depart through the thick of night to avoid being detected by the kids. And if Ling Yan and Jean Tian ask the next morning, just tell them we went to look for state teacher's reincarnation as an excuse. Dragoni nodded in agreement. Mother, please tell Brother Xueqi that I am protecting Auntie during this period. When I return, I will have incredible powers to protect everyone, including him. Bai Yan's throat felt like there's a rock inside there, choking her and strangling her of air. She's so sad and hurt by her inability to do more, that her family would have to endure such hardships. Di Song seems to have read his wife's emotions then and promptly pulled her into an embrace. Don't worry, they'll be fine. Trust in them that they will come back alive and well. Bai Yen immediately shot a look to her man. Don't think I didn't see it, you are also worried about them. This guy is too dishonest. He clearly worries about them as much as I do, but he's still trying to comfort me and act like it's fine. Di Song bursts out laughing before giving his wife a kiss on the lip. There won't be many dangers as long as Dragoni is there. It's okay to worry, but you mustn't let worry dictate your judgment. Bai Yan couldn't argue with that and got all quiet as she watched those two gradually disappear from her view. "Oh right, Ditsong, you mentioned something about a red bead before. I know where it is." Only after Di Xiaowan and Dragone's departure did Bai Yan recall what they were discussing. Raising an eyebrow. "Have you seen it?" "Yes, the bead is in fact sitting quietly inside Ling Yan's heart right now. I only learned of this recently." Bai Yan's face showed a high level of concern. "Do you remember that day when she went missing on the Demon Mountain?" Di Xiaowan's decision 9. Di Tsong's face changed suddenly. "Go on." "It was that day. Someone put the bead into Ling Yan's body." Following was Bai Yan's experience in the heavenly domain and the step-by-step of how she discovered their daughter's condition. The story also includes the matter of her father Yun Feng becoming heavenly flame. Even if the whole story got shortened by quite a lot, Di Tsong nevertheless got the gist of things. Yen, let's go check on Ling Yan. I have to make sure the bead isn't endangering her health." "Okay." Bai Yan pursed her lips and nodded. Subsequently, the pair quickly left the room and headed for where the children were staying. Inside the kids' room, Bai Xiaochen sat near the head of the bed as his hand gently pats the sister's head, his mouth humming a lullaby the whole time to coax the pipsqueak asleep. Di Ling Yan was indeed a little tired after the long journey. Rubbing her eyes, the child soon fell into a doze after the first yawn. Unfortunately, right at the moment where all was peaceful, the door to the room was swung open, sending the boy into alert. Thankfully Bai Xiaochen recognized it was his parents, so his heart promptly eased up. "Mother, father, how come both of you are here? Ling is sleeping." Not even a word to explain, Di Tsong grabbed his son and threw the boy at the window. He didn't want any obstruction to his view when sending out his feelers for probing. Sure enough, the Demon King found the mentioned red bead inside his daughter's heart. It's lying quietly there with flames surrounding the surface. Thankfully there are no signs of it exploding, so that's a relief. "Father, are you looking at the bead inside my body?" Di Ling Yan shows a playful smile after being woken back up. "You don't have to worry, I can sense the bead won't hurt me." "Bead?" Bai Xiaochen's lovely face immediately turned into a frown. "What bead?" "Mother, father, what is she talking about?" Explaining to the steam bun was Bai Yan herself. "Inside Ling Yan's heart is a red flaming bead. I'm afraid it might hurt her. That's why I had your father come inspect it." At that moment, one could visibly see the color drain from the boy's face. He's very agitated and rattled by the news. "Bead? Why does Ling Yan have a bead inside her heart? Her body is so small and frail. There's no way she can withstand a burning flame inside her heart." No wonder Jean Tian mentioned his sister is different. It must be because of the influence from that bead. Although Bai Xiaochen does find the ferocious-looking side of his little sister to be quite cute, however, in comparison to her well-being, any cuteness would need to stand aside. Retracting his senses from the girl's body, Di Tsong took a moment to gather his words. "For the time being it won't have any visible impact, nor do I feel any malice from the bead. Later though, Yen, I can't say for certain. We need to find a way to take it out no matter what." Nothing was certain in this world. This was especially true if it's something beyond their understanding. Leaving it to chance that the bead wouldn't bring harm was completely out of the question, nor a price he could afford to pay. "Mother is heaven one." "Okay." Bai Yan relents and nod. She believes in the power of her husband and trusts he could cope with any hurdle that might come their way. "Right, Di Tsong," she seemed to have thought of something. "I haven't seen Shifu and grandfather and them for a long time, so I intend to go back with the kids this time around to let them meet. Besides, she has an apprentice in the Lu Hua kingdom. Even if she hasn't been around in the human world for years by this point, she still liked the boy who reminded her of herself in the past. This time she intends to act the role of a Shifu and properly teach him something. Then take Suzaku and them with you." Wrinkling his brow at the unexpected idea, Di Tsong suggests taking the sacred beasts to act as guardians in his stead. "No, I'll be back soon, so there's no need. Besides, no one can threaten me if those monarchs don't show up. Don't worry, I'll be safe." Bai Yan smiles in reassurance. She's half a step into being a divine lord herself. That's the same level as those monarchs. Unless someone at her father's level show up, Bai Yan had complete confidence to defeat the enemy or at least escape unscathed. Seeing her insistency, the Demon King knew there was nothing more to be said about that matter. "Come back soon." "I will." Without intention, Bai Yan's face was all smiling once she met his gaze. Mother, I want to take Dragoni with me. Bai Xiachen suddenly turned up between his parents' sides and popped this request. Dragoni is also my sister, I want to take her with us if we're leaving. Making a faint smile at her son's hopeful eye, Bai Yan felt guilty at what she was about to say. Dragoni can't come with us. Why? The steam bun fell into shock. Why can't Dragoni come with us? I haven't had time to tell you, so this is a good chance. Your Auntie Xiao Wan has temporarily left the demon realm in search of state teacher's reincarnation. Dragoni also went with her as security since her strength has grown a lot. Auntie Xiao Wan and Dragoni are gone? Bai Xiachen made a dazed-looking face as his mind processed this bombshell. Moments later, the emotional loss couldn't be hidden from the boy's expression. Mother. It's then Di Lingyan threw herself into Bai Yan's arms after hearing the news. When will Sister Dragon come back? I speculate. It will likely take some days. Bai Yan tried to be as vague as possible. She doesn't know when the two would return, so this was the best excuse. That's enough questions for your mother. Di Tsong's brow furrowed up at the persistence of the kids and immediately shot a warning glance at his eldest. She needs to rest. Originally, the steam bun wanted to voice his displeasure at the sudden halting of their conversation, but his words were promptly stuffed back into his throat at the face his old man was making. But I haven't seen Mother for so long. Do you want another sister or not? Di Tsong asked with an air of triumph. A brightness instantly shot out of the steam bun's eyes then, but that light soon dimmed after seeing the delicate face of his younger sister who's now in Bai Yan's arms. Father, you can't keep fooling me with that anymore. I've already got Ling Yan, so I'm satisfied. Mother is heaven too. Tomorrow your mother will take you back to the human world. I only have tonight with her. Which of us do you think will have more time? Di Tsong spoke down at his son with a lecturing tone. Bai Xiachen blinked and blinked. How did I forget about that? Anyway, I will have plenty of time to stick to Mother after today. So what if Father gets to spend some time instead of me? However, just as he was about to open his mouth, the sound of Di Tsong's cheeky voice rang out again. Of course, even if your mother doesn't plan to take you back to the human world tomorrow, you boy can forget about stealing a woman from under your old man's hand. Even against his own son, the Demon King doesn't hold back and displays his dominance. The steam bun's face almost cracked as he stared in disbelief at the man whom sired his existence. Ling Yan, go stick to your brother. Di Tsong unceremoniously lifted the pipsqueak from her mother's arms and threw her over to the boy instead. Nevertheless, in the face of this daughter, the dominating air that he used for the son did disperse and was replaced by the soft kind tone of a parent. Don't let him pester my wife. Di Lingyan first looked upwards at her father, then at her older brother. Making a clever face with those big blue eyes, she giggled and promptly hooked her arms around Bai Xiachen's neck. Big brother, I want to hear a story. Tell me a bedtime story? The soft and crisp sound of the little milk bun instantly melted away Bai Xiachen's heart. Okay, then Big Brother here will tell you the story about Sleeping Beauty. Sleeping Beauty? Is she beautiful? A light sparkled out of the pipsqueak's eye over the name, the face curious and childish. Nodding after a thought. Should be, but not nearly as beautiful as Mother and our Ling Yan. Really? The pipsqueaks got even more intrigued and wanted to know more. Have Big Brother seen this Sleeping Beauty? I haven't seen her, but perhaps Mother did. I heard this story from Mother when I was little. There are also many more stories like Snow White, Cinderella, and... Using the opportunity created by her daughter's stickiness to the boy, Di Tsong had already dragged his wife away in a burst of speeding blur for their bedchamber. Yan, I miss you so much. Since the first encounter that year, he was doomed to fall into this endless cycle of loving her. It's sad and pitiful for a man of his standing and ability, but he's relishing and loving this descent into being a wife-slave. This was especially true while they are together in bed. Whether it be him on top or his wife doing the laboring, the pair are in communication and sync of their rhythm. Mother is heaven. 3. Next day. The morning light brightly shone through the crack in the windowsill, the air still lingering with the scent of the two occupants' wrestle in the night. This brought comfort to the slumbering mistress of this bedchamber. Nevertheless, it was about time she awoke from her rest after noticing the missing partner that should have been holding her body. Mother, can I come in? Just then, a young voice drifted through the closed door and sent her into a panic. She's still drowsy over the long exercise throughout the night, so the Demon Queen didn't expect this sudden intrusion. Wait! Bai Yan hurriedly shouted as she scrambled to get out of bed and got dressed. She's covered in sexual marks with that birth suit of hers, so it wouldn't do at all before her child. Coughing after covering all the evidence. Come in. The door swung open following the permission, and in came the steam bun. He's dressed in the luxurious robe of royalty, giving him the air of supremacy that could quickly draw the attention of the opposite sex. Mother, father had gone out without me. He woke me up in the middle of the night and told me to pass on a message to you that he's going to find something for Ling Yan's bead. Bai Yan appears stunned in the face over this bombshell. Di Tsong went looking for something to help Ling Yan? Did he already know what to do? Why didn't he tell me yesterday? If I knew, I would have gone with him. Tightly clenching her fist, she inhales deeply to calm her deteriorating mood. What else did your father say? Oh, he said not to look for him. He won't say and you won't be able to go on your own. But don't worry, father said he will be fine, so I'm sure he's not in danger. The young voice of her boy only made the demon queen sadder and bittersweet inside. It seems that the guy knew she would follow him, hence his reasoning for leaving without a word. Xueqi, go help me summon First Elder here. She narrowed her eyes in after giving this instruction. Bai Yan wants to get more information. Aside from Di Tsong and State Teacher, First Elder had the most information since he's one of the few demons remaining from that era. Mother, it's useless. First Elder also followed father when they left. The only ones left to protect the demon realm are the 4 sacred beasts. I know Suzaku, Phoenix, doesn't know anything since I asked them about the matter before coming here. They don't know where father went either. Bai Xueqi hung his head in frustration, that expression pitiful and sad. Didn't you ask him yesterday? Bai Yan asks for more details since her son was the last to see her husband. I did ask. Bai Xueqi puffs his cheeks up in a pout. I did ask and refused to let him go unless he takes us with him. But guess what? Father knocked me out and ran away on his own. Mother, you say, am I really his son? Why do I always feel like I'm adopted? And it's the one-for-one type of adoption. Like how father woke me up in the middle of the night just so he won't disturb mother. Then there's the part about him always tossing me aside so I won't pester him and mother's time together. Worse, he actually knocked me out when I asked him where he's going. Your father wouldn't let you go with him for fear that you would be in danger. I sense that the place he's heading to would be dangerous. Otherwise, Di Tsong wouldn't have left without a word to me in person. Bai Yan's heart grew more and more worried after thinking about this. However, she didn't dare to show it in front of her boy. Mother is heaven for. Mother, what should we do then? Bai Xueqin's eyes got all red as the worry nearly made him cry out. Don't assume he doesn't care just because he claimed to be adopted. In fact, he cares about his old man quite a lot. Don't worry too much, he's Di Tsong, your father. There's nothing he can't do in this world. Bai Yan reassures her boy by showing a comforting smile, but the reluctance and worry couldn't be dismissed in her voice. She doesn't know where the Demon King was now. That meant she must find out. Xueqi, go find your siblings and pack up. We'll go visit the human world as planned. Bai Yan attempts to shift the topic in order to avoid further pain in the room. Okay. The steam bun did not doubt his mother and nodded before turning for the exit. Xueqi, don't let Ling Yan and Jean Tian know about this, understand? Bai Yan drops another order after seeing her boy move, afraid this matter might rile up into a fuss that's not needed at this timing. Halting in his step and turning back to face her. Mother, you can count on me, I won't let them worry. Finally, once said the boy ran off without looking back, leaving only the Demon Queen standing there with an oppressive air hovering overhead. At this moment, Suzaku was just coming out of her own room when the phoenix suddenly bumped into her mistress who came to see her. Stumbling backward in surprise by the head, but, Mistress, how come you are here? Tightly pressing her hands onto the phoenix's shoulder so she doesn't escape. Suzaku, do you know where Di Tsong went? I want to hear the truth. Flinching at the sudden question, the phoenix woman met the Demon Queen's eye and spent a good second in deep thought. In the end, she shook her head. I don't know. His Majesty didn't tell us anything, so we don't know where he intends to go. Bai Yan's hand slowly loosened. It looks like Xueqi is not wrong, Suzaku and them don't know anything. Di Tsong had Xueqi pass me the word, saying I cannot go to the place that he's going. Why is that the case? Bai Yan's sight never left the other person's, looking for any sign of hesitancy. Sure enough, Suzaku got quiet and leaving the air very tense. After a good while of this awkwardness, I really don't know. Taking a step back, Bai Yan's figure began to shake, her smile transforming into a hysterical laugh of bitterness. Is that so? Fine, I'm going to take the kids back with me to the human world. Since I don't know where he is, I won't waste any more time on the matter. But if word comes that he's in danger, you must come find me, understood? Mistress. Suzaku didn't like this either, so her heart was very tense, like someone's grabbing at it and ripping it apart. There's only one place that is forbidden to Mistress since she is a human. The place only us demons can go. I want to tell her, but her going would only bring more harm to the king than helping. Mother is heaven 5. I can't watch her take such a risk. So, I'm sorry, Mistress. Please forgive me for not telling you. Bai Yan did not notice the hidden light flickering within the phoenix's eyes, so her condition wasn't faring so well. Sloppy in her steps, the demon queen had trouble maintaining her balance due to the ache in the heart. Mother, mother. From afar, she could hear the calls of the little ones. Coming over was none other than her eldest son and the twins. However, there's also Ji Song, who stood behind the group while holding a long sword in both her arms. She may be small, smaller than Bai Xiachen, but her presence gave weight and projected a sense of peace. You're all here. Bai Yan slowly closed her eyes before opening them again after a long while. She had to force herself to smile despite the discomfort. Mother, are you feeling sick? Di Lingyan saw the unhealthy complexion and quickly ran over to touch Bai Yan's forehead with her tiny hands. However, she's unfortunately too small in her height, so those hands were nowhere close to being able to reach, which causes the pipsqueak to grow a little depressed in the face. I'm fine, Ling Yan, don't have to worry. Bai Yan reached down to rub her daughter's head reassuringly. Of course, the little glutton was equally as worried after seeing his mother's complexion. First pulling out a small cloth bag from his pocket, he earnestly offers it with both hands like it's an immense treasure. Mother, are you hungry? This is the food prepared for me by First Elder. I had intended to eat it on the road, but if Mother is hungry then you can have it. Bai Yan's heart melted away over her twins' lovable gesture of comfort. Hugging both with open arms, Mother is not hungry, I'm just a little tired. We should begin heading out now. Mother, don't we have to say goodbye to Father first? Ling Yan asks with a puzzled look. She's suddenly reluctant to leave Di Tsong behind. It's just that the thought of meeting her mother's side of the family, her heart would grow excited. Shuddering inside over that comment, she shakes her head with a bitter smile. No need, your father is very busy, so it's best not to disturb him. It's beginning to get late, so we shouldn't delay the trip any longer. If we set out now, then we should be at the Holy Land before sundown. In this world, apart from those she considers close family members, the most important individuals are the 3 silly shifas of hers. Back then it was they who took her in during her weakest and gave her 5 years of love and care. Without that period to breath, the Bai Yan of today wouldn't exist. Mother, are we going to see my 3 grandshifas? Bai Xiachen's eye lit up over the notion. Is Godfather also in the Holy Land? I miss him so much. Although he favors his old man a lot, the steam bun still likes Xueqi Feng from the hearts down. In fact, if Di Tsong never existed, he would have likely wanted that picturesque man to become his stepfather. Godfather. Di Lingyan cleverly picked up on this word and looked towards her older brother's face for an explanation. Patting his little sister with a smile. You never met him yet, Ling Yan, but Godfather is a very good person that is always kind to Mother and me. He would exhaust everything to please her. If Father hadn't appeared back then, perhaps. Regarding the last bit of his remark, Bai Xiachen didn't want to say it before the twins. After all, if Chu Yifeng did get Bai Yan back then, where would the twins be today? Mother is heaven. 6. Does Godfather look good? And between Father and Godfather, who looks better? This time, Bai Xiachen puckered his lips to one side and didn't want to elaborate. They both look good in their respective manner. Godfather is a fairy like those seen in a portrait, while Father is stunning and dominant, but I prefer Father now. He likes whoever gives his mother a lifetime of happiness. Even if Di Tsong often bullies him, he would like his old man as usual. What about before? Did brother prefer Godfather? As always, Di Lingyan became the curious baby that she was and wanted to get to the bottom of things. Well, Bai Xiachen did not deny that idea and nodded. At first Father would always pick on Mother, so I did not like him. Mother is my most important woman. Whoever bullies her is my enemy. If not for father performing well later on, plus he promised that he will help me improve my strength so that I can protect mother, I wouldn't have accepted him so quickly. If there's anything to be blamed, it could only be on Song's initial impression. He didn't act like a good man, so the boy reacted defensively. In contrast, Chu Yifeng's behavior had been nothing but flawless. A literal ray of sunshine in Xiaochen and Bai Yan's life. It's no wonder the steam bun preferred him at first. Ling Yan, I am not as strict with you versus Jin Tian, but listen up the both of you. Bai Xiaochen forks his arms around the waist while speaking in a lecturing manner. Mother is the boss of our family. Whoever bullies her is the enemy of our family. Regardless if mother is right or wrong, she is and always will be right, understood? Jin Tian the little glutton nodded first without fully understanding his meaning. He's already been programmed to believe anything the steam bun says, so this was a no-brainer. But Ling Yan on the other hand got the underlying meaning when she nodded. I understand, big brother. Mother is always right. If there is anyone wrong, it can only be the other person. If mother and father argues, it can only be father's fault. That's right, Bai Xiaochen dotingly ruffles his little sister's hair in an appeased manner. And you, Jin Tian, when you grow older, you must be as good as you are now and never anger mother. If you do, I will beat you, I really will hit you. Shivering in fear at the sudden threat, the little glutton didn't know why he suddenly became the ire of his older brother. I will be good, I really will be. He's ready to burst into tears by this point. It's bad enough to be the punching bag. It's even worse when you don't know why you're the punching bag. Now that's good. The steam bun loosens his stern face and got all lovely in his smile. It doesn't matter if you don't understand what I mean. The only thing you need to know is that mother is the heaven, she is the law. Ji Song, who's also present but standing behind the twins, was shocked by this logic and display of tyranny. From a logical point of view, it's supposed to be wrong, but it's nevertheless drawing her in and making this now healed girl worshipful towards the steam bun. Mrs. D is so amazing. She could teach her eldest son to be such a sweet son. That should be enough, Xiaochen. Bai Yan warmly rewards her eldest with a pat on the head after that statement. If you continue, then Jin Tian is really going to cry. As if I am that mean, mother? Bai Xiaochen slyly throws himself at the demon queen's waist. I am in fact very gentle. As long as my little brother doesn't make you angry, I will always be the kind and gentle older brother to him. I'm only teaching him how to behave in this family properly. Reunion 1. Suzaku. Bai Yan pinches her eldest's nose before turning to the Phoenix woman. I will be leaving the four of you in charge of the demon realm while we're away. If anything happens, contact me immediately, understand? She and Suzaku have a contract in their bodies, so passing on the message would be as simple as a will of their mind. Don't worry, mistress. I will be here in the demon realm until your return. Nodding in confirmation, the Phoenix gives off an air of confidence and reliability. Holding the twins with both hands, Bai Yan led the way in front. We're leaving, I'll take you two to meet your grandchiefess. It's another year of plentiful blossoming for the peach trees on the island where Bai Yan once called her home of the Holy Land. It's beautiful and serene here, but not all was as it may seem from the surface. Standing on the edge of the lake surrounding the island, several disciples of this great power curiously voiced their opinion as they took in the sight. I didn't expect such beautiful scenery to be in the Holy Land, but why is such a good place not being used by the little princess? Xueqi. Can it be, this is where the Lord's deceased wife once lived? Another disciple to one side immediately sent a look at this ignorant peer of hers as she shot the theory down. You are new, so it's normal that you don't know. However, there are some things you must not spout without the pertinent details. Senior sister Zhang Yun, does that mean you know about the Holy Island's secret? The girl in pink turned her head to look at the older female disciple known as Zhang Yun, her bright green eyes curious and nosy. That is of course. It is said that the master of this island is the strongest person of the human world, and she's also the apprentice of the three great elders. Even the Holy Lord and Princess are extremely fond of her, making her position within the Holy Land equivalent to the Holy Lord himself. Zhang Yun crosses her arms around the chest and gloats her chin high like some superior lecturing their subordinates. Such a person is one that we should all aspire to be. Sadly, I'm afraid even meeting that person would be impossible. The pink girl popped her mouth into a round shape at this incredible story. But I have been in the Holy Land for nearly 2 years, why have I never seen her? Is she not coming back to the Holy Land? Who knows? Zhang Yun shook her head. I heard that she married and followed her husband to some far-off place. The three great elders believe she would return soon though. That's why we're all cleaning the Holy Land of late. But isn't the Holy Island's owner the strongest person in the human world already? What man can win her heart? The pink girl sways her hip left and right like an innocent maiden that's captivated by this wondrous story. If I were her, I would rather be on my own since I already have such strength. It wouldn't sit well with me to be overshadowed by a man when I can clearly be at the forefront. Don't mess around, that kind of thinking is best kept to yourself. Zhang Yun hurriedly pulled her peer over and cusped her running mouth so other unrelated disciples wouldn't hear. Before I was only a disciple at the outer ring, that's why I never got to meet that incredible woman. But her deeds and achievements, just listening to some of the stories from the older seniors would get my heart burning with excitement. And guess what? I heard she already has a son before coming to the Holy Land. Reunion 2. The pink girl grew more surprised, her eyes full of amazement due to the overflowing flood of curiosity. What kind of child would an incredible woman like that produce? Excuse me. That's when a voice suddenly cuts their conversation short from mid-air. Is Xueqi at the Holy Land? After hearing this sentence, the disciples present all stopped in their word and promptly looked up into the sky where they completely lost their breath at that mesmerizing figure. Beautiful. So beautiful. They have never seen such a beautiful woman, so that's the only thing going through their minds. Normally such an outstanding contour would incur the ire of the same sex, especially among the female side. In this case, they could do nothing but stare in awe at that divine creation. She's currently training in the back mountain. Zhang Yun came back to her senses first due to her experience and answered Bai Yan's question. That's great, said the demon queen with a smile. I'll wait for her on the Holy Island. Xiachen, Ling Yan, Jin Tian, let's go. As soon as she stated this, the woman carried her kids and descended to the island at the center of the lake, leaving only the shocked disciples in the background who couldn't come back to reality for the longest time. She went to the Holy Island, did she not? I didn't hallucinate, did I? And did you hear? She addressed the princess by name. Who on the Holy Land would dare call her by that? Under the peach blossom tree of the Holy Island, there's a medicine field planted by none other than Bai Yan herself, who stayed here for a few years. I haven't seen to this crop for so long, perhaps it's withered by now? Bai Yan forms a helpless smile due to the hard work she's placed into this field. It's just that instead of the dying plants near her cottage after she arrived, what welcomed her was the powerful fragrance of herbs and exotic plants in the wind. Old 3. I told you your method is wrong. You see, the patch I cultivated is successfully germinating now while yours is withering away. Tell me, how are you going to explain this to Yenner after she comes back? Old 2, you're being too much. If it weren't for you spraying the elixirs over to my patch during your watering, would my plants die? Ho ho, I don't care. No matter what, this part of the field is under your charge. Failing to notice this before it's too late is your fault. I am not responsible. Just wait until Yenna returns. I'm going to tell her about this. Second elder Ran Yi proudly raised his chin while tossing sand over his fellow brother. Qiu Shu Rong's face got beet red at this. He's so frustrated yet so helpless due to always being the scapegoat. Why am I always the one who gets the short end of the stick? That's enough. Stop arguing and let's think of a way to save these herbs. These plants are our apprentices, baby, we cannot. Zhang Qi, the first Shifu, rubs his temple as the headache slowly comes forward. Reunion 3. Yan you're back. The afternoon sun was exceptionally bright, falling on top of the woman's beautiful face and showcasing her emotional smile at the three seniors. Ran Yi, 2, and Qiu Shu Rong, 3rd, stopped their quarreling then and doubly looked up at the woman whom they've been talking about. Precious disciple. Qiu Shu Rong hung his head in shame. Since you left the Holy Land, we have been studying hard with the texts you left behind. But I such a bumbling idiot, I can't even raise this one good patch of. Ren Yi's heart also didn't fare so well and smiled bitterly. It's in fact not old 3's fault. I accidentally poured some of my elixirs onto his side and caused the herbs to die. Before Bai Yan arrived in this world, most people could only forage for such rare ingredients due to the harsh growth requirements of these spirit herbs, like high spiritual concentration in the air and earth, or specific temperature and moisture. However, Bai Yan had devised a way to bypass most of these conditions, and that was the elixir she concocted and written down for these three. First looking over to the farm field, then back at her three shifas, Bai Yan suddenly found her eyes a little wet. Have the three of you been keeping these herbs alive all these years? Well, yes. Since you're not around, plus we're bored, that's why we would often come over to the island and look after these herbs. We were afraid others wouldn't know what to do, so it's always us who does the watering. Xianxia, the first elder, explains. They are Yan Yan's precious treasures. Of course we need to look after them for her. Bai Yan didn't know what else to say. Don't assume these three are unreliable because they often screw up during their lessons with her. In fact, they're well above the norms in this world. Furthermore, the love and care shown was no less than a parent raising a child. That's the sort of relationship these three have with Bai Yan. Grand Shifu. Bai Xiachen quickly ran over and threw himself into Xiangqi's arm, his handsome face grinning brilliantly. Grandchifus, I miss all of you so much. The steam bun grew up in this holy island, so it's expected that the place and people held a special place in his heart. I miss you too, Xiachen. You must come back more often in the future. Guess what, Grandshifu Xiangqi? Mother gave me a little sister. Oh right, there's also an extra younger brother that accidentally got thrown in. Accidentally? Dare say, in Bai Xiachen's heart, the little glutton's existence was no better than an extra. All three of the elders promptly looked over to their disciples' location and saw the indicated twins. One was a precious crystal of a girl that had the gifts of her mother, while the baby boy retained the baby fat and cuddliness worthy of being snuggled. It also helped that Jean Tian was chewing his thumb while curiously eyeing the three, so it only made him all the more adorable. Ling Yan, Jean Tian, come greet your Grandshifu. Bai Xiachen waves at his siblings to step forward. Hello, Grandshifu. Ling Yan, being the more outspoken of the two, spoke first, her eyes clever and bright. Hello, Grandshifu. Jean Tian followed suit but was timider in his voice due to the unfamiliar grounds. Moving his hands wildly like he didn't know where to put them, Xiangqi found his nerves overwhelmed at the kid's behavior. Good, excellent, such good children you have there, Yan Yan. Oh, what to do? You came back so suddenly that I didn't prepare a good gift for them. Reunion 4. Grandshifu, Mother brought me here to meet you all, so I'm thrilled as it is. There's no need to be so ceremonious. Forcing a crescent shape with her eyes, Di Ling Yan was all smiles while saying this. Xiangqi became stunned by how much the child resembled the steam bun, especially how she smiled. Yan Yan, this child's personality is so much like Xiachen when he was little. I knew your children would all be this astounding, ha ha ha. Laughing and laughing, his eyes soon became wet as the tears flowed out from the corner. My disciple is too outstanding that even us, her shifus, can no longer keep up. Shifu, you don't need to be so emotional. Am I not here with you three? Oh right, I've already told someone to go find Yi to let her know of my return. Is the Lord around in the Holy Land as well? Bai Yan wanted to lighten the mood, so she quickly changed the topic. Him? Yeah. The Lord never left the Holy Land, so he must be at the main estate. I know he will be very excited to see you come back. How long are you staying this time? Replying was Xiangqi, the first elder. He's anxiously awaiting the answer based on the way he's rubbing his hands in a squirming manner. Bai Yan naturally knew that they wanted her to stay a little longer. Unfortunately, other things are awaiting her attention, and they all knew that. Apologetically shaking her head, first Shifu, second Shifu, third Shifu, I'm sorry but I can only stay for a brief while. After saying hello to everyone here, I will have to go visit grandfather and the rest of the family, so. This came as no surprise to the three Holy Lands elders. There are a lot of matters on hand for this precious disciple of theirs. The fact that she found time to come see them was enough to soothe their hearts, albeit at a slight trade-off of disappointment. I see, Yan Yan. No matter, the Holy Land will always be your home, and we will always be your family too. When you feel like returning here, then you are always welcomed back. In the meantime, us three will watch over this island and the plants in your stead. A teacher always wishes for higher goals for their students. There's a much bigger world awaiting this proud woman. That's why they don't want to be an anchor holding her back. Shifus. Bai Yan's heart fluttered with butterflies at their support. No matter what happens, these three silly shifus of hers would always keep a particular spot inside her heart. I promise you, when I resolve everything and settle down, I will definitely come back and spend a good amount of time here, okay? Qiu Shu Rong, third, bellows out a laugh at this promise. Sweetie, you don't need to worry about us. Go ahead and do what you need to do. This place is not going anywhere, and plus we are not so stingy to want to occupy you for ourselves. We only want you to be happy. That's right, Yen Yen. Second Shifu here don't know what to say here aside from telling you the Holy Island will always be here for you. If there is any danger in the future, you can always look to us for help. We will always have your back. Ran Yi's look appeared heavy and severe. I understand. Bai Yen slowly extended her arms out and hugged her second Shifu's old body before turning to embrace the other two as well. To me, you three are not only my Shifus, but also my fathers. As the saying goes, a Shifu is a Shifu for life. Though your ages are a bit on the older side, but for me, your existence is equivalent to being my parents. There will always be a spot by my side for the three of you no matter how high I reach. Reunion 5. Such friendship, it's not something that could be paid back with mere material wealth. Only a lifetime of gratitude could be used as compensation for those feelings and kindness. Bai Yen! A voice of joy came from behind and caused the demon queen to turn around. Immediately, a woman wearing a yellow dress of flowers had come into view. She's young and full of lively energy, which brought the mood to a whole new level of joy. Bai Yen, I miss you so much. Xueqi pitifully states this, her arms wrapped firmly around the other side's figure like she couldn't believe this reality. I miss you too, Yi. But before we continue, I like to know why you are back in the Holy Land. Where's my brother Bai Xiao? Weren't you two together? Taken aback by the sudden question, Xueqi, the mischievous princess of the Holy Land, didn't give a straightforward answer like she usually would. Instead, she looks up to meet her friend's gaze before pursing those lips into a sad line. He's still in the celestial realm. I miss my old man, so I came back first to see him. Though she says that, it's obvious she's reluctant to go over the full details of the story. Able to discern this much based on her assessment, Bai Yen knew this problem must be solved between themselves. Love could not be forced, that's something she learned long ago. I know my brother's temperament is hard to grasp due to how neutral he is. It's difficult for him to express himself sometimes. If there is a misunderstanding between the two of you, or if he's bullying you, I will help you teach him a lesson. Is that good? Bai Xiao was her brother, but Xueqi was also her sister and dear friend. So of course she would help give a push to their relationship. Bai Yen. Xueqi's heart shook at this support. It's not Xiao Zhao's issue, it's my own. I feel like my strength is too weak and cannot help him. That said, the princess promptly looks back up with a firm light of determination in those eyes. In the past she had always been pampered due to her status as the princess of the Holy Land, one of the three great powers in the human world. But after experiencing the indignation and difficulties of the celestial realm, it's come to the last that it's not all right to continue like this. She has pride too. Being a damsel in distress has never been her way. Bai Yen pats her friend's shoulder. When it comes to a relationship, status isn't important, so you need to stop worrying about such things. My brother is dull like that. Haven't you realized that by now? Xueqi's eyes got all red and emotional, her throat choking for a proper response. I only want to ask you this. If Bai Xiao is only the son of a powerless Bai house in the Luhua kingdom, would you still favor him? The demon queen stares into her friend's eye with a solemn expression. Of course I will. I didn't like him because of his identity. Even if he's weak and powerless, I will not abandon him. When she fell in love with Bai Xiao, it was back when he had nothing and standing before the burning pyre of the Bai house. She ached for him, at the same time loved him for being determined despite all the hurdles in life. Reunion 6. In that case, why do you believe my brother will turn you away? Bai Yen couldn't help but chuckle at her own words. The you in the past is known as the scourge of the Holy Land, lawless and destructive in the path you walk. When have you been afraid of anything? Did you not listen to any of the advice I gave you before we separated back then? Grabbing the princess's shoulder, the demon queen's voice now grew stern and severe. Xueqi, gather your courage and get what you want. I'm waiting for my sister-in-law. In addition, whether you can catch up to my brother and enter his heart is up to you. I can only help you summon your courage. After all, he too is my brother. I can't use my status as his older sister to force him to accept you. Bai Yen looks deep into the princess's eye to get her point across. Slowly nodding her head, Xueqi sounded more like herself again. I know, relationships cannot be forced. If he doesn't want me, then I won't be one of those stubborn females that won't let go. At the very least, I will wait until he finds someone else who he truly loves. Hearing that last bit, Bai Yan couldn't help but smile in a bittersweet manner. Xueqi and her older brother Xueqi Feng are so similar. When Di Song came into my life, that man also did the same and watched me in secret to keep me safe. He would sacrifice his own happiness to let me find happiness. Such a man, such a sister, how can they be so willing to sacrifice for others? This. Xianxia and his fellow brothers were stunned into disbelief. Our princess, the evil witch of the Holy Land, fell in love with a man? This level of shock couldn't be blamed on the three elders. Ever since Bai Yan came to this place, Xueqi had been circling around the demon queen and her son like a butterfly that never leaves. They've almost forgotten the princess was also a maiden that could love another person. Bai Yan immediately shot a deadpan look at her three shifus as a warning. I know what the three of you are thinking. What we spoke of just now never happened. You heard nothing, nor shall this be spoken before the Lord. This is Xueqi's secret. It's not anyone's business to tell others until she's ready. A humph, Xianxia first, coughed awkwardly since he got it right away. Turning to his two brothers. Did the two of you hear anything? I didn't hear nothing, not a single thing. No, of course not. We heard nothing at all. Old two, did you hear anything? Zhou Shurong, third, shot his second brother a wink. Oh what, my ears are getting old. I should really go to a doctor and have it checked. Our bodies aren't getting any younger, you know. Ran acts clueless like he's not able to understand anything. I want to go meet your father now. Do you want to come with me? Bai Yan asks with a pleased smile after seeing the way her shifus acted. Shaking that head, the princess had other plans in mind apparently. No, I need to continue to work towards my goal now that I've figured out what I want. If my father finds out I'm heading out to the celestial realm, then he will definitely break my leg. I need to split before he finds out. Merely at the thought of the harshness the Holy Lord enacted on herself as of late, Xueqi would shudder in fear. Bai Yan, the princess suddenly got an idea. Can you tell my father in a bit not to send someone to chase me? My speed is slow, so he will definitely send his people afterward. Reunion 7. Why do you need me to help you? Bai Yan makes a perplexed face. Couldn't you go tell the Lord yourself? I'm not going, said Xueqi in an indignant fashion. Father almost beat me because of the last incident where I ran away from home with Lan Xiaoyun. He's worried about you being in danger. Don't you understand? I understand that, but I also want to train myself. This time he will definitely not let me go to the celestial realm if he finds out. Xueqi clung onto Bai Yan's arm and swung it left and right in a pleading fashion. Bai Yan, help me this time, just this time. Father will listen to you if you help my case. Looking at her friend's pitiful appearance, Bai Yan didn't have the heart to reject the request and nodded. All right, I will let him know. Also, I want you to go find Little Rice in the demon realm first. He will have someone escort you to the celestial realm. The demon realm was her territory, much safer than the celestial realm, so having her own people safeguard Xueqi during the route was a better plan in her opinion. Bai Yan, you and Xiao Xiao both managed to make it into the celestial realm on your own. I can do it too. If I continue to depend on others to do everything for me, then I will never grow and have the strength to stand by his side. There's a determined glow that showed how much she wanted this. So, I will go alone this time. Believe in me, I can protect myself. She doesn't have the gift as Bai Yan does, nor the ability and fortitude of others, but she does have an unwavering heart. Without this experience to prove herself, Xueqi wouldn't have the face to continue down this path where it would only get much more challenging with time. Okay. Bai Yan knew she couldn't change her friend's mind and nodded after a brief thought. But promise me you will go find my brother as soon as you head into the celestial realm. Don't worry, I will definitely find him. Perhaps the thought of reuniting with that handsome young man, Xueqi's cheek would immediately flush a red of fluttery shade. Sister Yi. Bai Xiachen pouts at the Holy Land princess after being ignored for so long. You used to like me the most, but now all you talk about is my uncle. Did you even see me? Making a surprised face, Xueqi actually responded with the cruelest sentence. Oh Xiachen, you're back? Da. A shattering sound filled the steambun's soul like a scum just dumped him for someone else. I didn't even exist in her eyes until I called her out. Ling Yan and Jin Tian too. All of you are here? Xueqi gasps after seeing the three kids standing around and staring at herself. Ling Yan with her stunned face. I also got ignored? Am I not cute enough? When did I become like second brother and can be ignored? Unlike his twin sister and older brother though, Jin Tian the little glutton didn't mind this and behaved cluelessly. With a pastry snack in hand, he happily waves hello to the girl. Hello Auntie E. Rubbing her temple at the silly nature of this scene, Bai Yan figured there's no point dwelling on the carelessness of her friend. It's getting late E. I better go see your father before leaving. I still need to visit the medicine sect afterward. You can use this opening to pack up before leaving. Bai Yan, you are so nice to me. Giving her friend a big hug, Xueqi suddenly kissed the demon queen on the cheek as gratitude. She had intended to flee without packing anything since time was of the essence. But having extra clothes and money definitely helps. Bai Yan appears stunned by the physical contact. Bai Xiachen also popped his eyes out in shock. Ling Yan on the other hand merely giggled in delight after seeing this. And like usual, Jin Tian the little glutton only had food in mind and continued to eat his pastry. Sister you're done for. After half a ring later, Bai Xiachen dropped this remark down with a black face. If my father finds out you sexually harassed my mother, he will not let you go for this. A humph. Xueqi coughs awkwardly since she knew her action there went overboard. Raising to rub the steam bun's head. What does a little baby know? I'm not disrespecting your mother. I'm only expressing my happiness. And also, don't tell your father about this, okay? Reunion 8. At the end of the day, her voice sounded weak as those eyes nervously scanned the area for said demon king. Xueqi was honestly afraid of Di Tsong bursting out of hiding and breaking her neck when she's least expected it. It's scary to even think about it in fact. Xueqi. Bai Yan's black face spoke with gritted teeth. You smothered me with your saliva. If there's a next time then you better keep 3 feet away from me at all times. Shrinking her neck in at the outraged demon queen, Xueqi knew her friend had a phobia against dirty things. I'll go pack up right away. You go see my father now bye. Dropping that down, the Holy Land princess disappeared in a blur. It's a new record for this naughty witch when it comes to fleeing. Humph, we're going too then. Holding her twins with each hand, Bai Yan began to move when she suddenly stopped and shot a glance back at the 3 old gramps watching her from behind. Shifus, when I've solved everything, I'll be back. As reluctant as they are about separating again so soon, the 3 elders didn't try to keep her behind. Okay. That's all they could utter out, stuffing those emotional words inside for another day. By the lake, the disciples were still silently waiting for Bai Yan's possible appearance. They are very excited at the opportunity of meeting the owner of the Holy Island. Sure, they aren't certain of Bai Yan's identity and didn't know her name, but the reaction from Xueqi told them all they needed to know. Earlier, all they managed to get out was that a woman had headed to the island with a bunch of kids, and then the princess bolted away in glee without asking for any details. It's well known only one person could get Xueqi so riled up in this place. Finally, their patience were rewarded by a red female gradually appearing in their sight. This? The girl in the pink hurried forward and nervously spoke first. There's an unbridled level of worship in her eyes. Excuse me, are you the rumored world's strongest and the owner of the Holy Island? Bai Yan's footsteps stopped. Turning around, she faintly smiled at the inexperienced youngsters. No one can claim to be the strongest. As for the owner of the Holy Island, you could say that. Several of the disciples giggled with glee as they got the confirmation. She admitted it. She is that legendary person. Senior that. The pink girl looked shy and timid. You are my goal. In the future, I will train hard. I hope I can one day be qualified to follow you from behind. First giving this brave child a glance, Bai Yan suddenly smiled like she's looking into her own past. What's your name? Autumn. My name is Autumn with a surname Forget. Forget Autumn? All right, Autumn. When you grow strong enough, you can come to me. Bai Yan liked the name and didn't reject the idea. That done, the demon queen went ahead to continue on her way. Even though her steps aren't big or wide, but her figure had disappeared entirely from the disciples' line of sight in mere moments. Senior sister Zhang Yun, just now did she say yes? The pink girl was so excited that she couldn't hold it down and began jumping. But I didn't expect to have this chance to speak with the strongest person in the world. Zhang Yun chuckled at her junior's cheerful voice like she just got a present. Actually, you should have asked her for some pointers instead. Perhaps your abilities would have grown by leaps and bounds as a result. Didn't you mention you were trying your hands in alchemy? She is also famous for her Dan pills, you know. Reunion 9. The pink girl shook her head firmly. She must be swamped with other stuff. I can't ask her these small questions to bother her. What's more, I'm going to follow her with my own ability. If I let her give me pointers, then I won't have the face to follow her anymore. Zhang Yun became stunned. She didn't understand what the girl was thinking to miss out on this great opportunity. Inside the luxurious palace of the Holy Land, Chu Ran was currently focusing his attention on the book in his hand. But he wasn't alone in this study though. Standing further in front was a beautiful maid awaiting his command. However, those eyes were not well behaved and would constantly sneak a peek towards the Holy Lord whenever possible. She obviously wants to seduce the man sitting on the master chair. Unfortunately for this woman though, Chu Ran never once gave her the attention she wanted. Suddenly, the main door to the study was pushed open without forewarning. The maid looked over right away, as was her duty. Immediately her eyes fell upon the woman in red, dazzling her line of sight along with those kids. Impudent! She snaps at the intruders with a solemn face. Who allowed you to come in here without notice? If it were under normal circumstances, this power-hungry maid would have spent a moment to think things through as to why Bai Yan would be able to come inside unhindered. But that face sent her alarms into full alert and was a threat to her plan to become the mistress of the Holy Land. She is surrounded children. Does she think the Holy Lord will want to pick up after other people's slack just because she's beautiful? Back over in the main doorway, Bai Yan raised an eyebrow at this maid who yelled at her. Normally she wouldn't need a notice since this was the study and work office, but this maid was someone she's never seen before. Chu Ran was attracted by the noise created by the maid's rebuke. Looking over to the doorway, the man's instantly lit up. Yener Xiaochen, you're both back. And these two little fellas, they should be the twins mentioned by Yi, aren't they? The maid on one side appeared stiff after hearing this. How come the Lord isn't angry with her after she barged in without notice? Bai Yan slowly nodded in confirmation, ignoring the maid's glaring face and signaling her children forward. I remember you only came not long ago, right? Chu Ran definitely sensed the air around the room due to the maid and turned to her, hanging her head low in a compliant manner. Yes, my lord. You don't need to come any more. Chu Ran's tone was calm and clear, but his words were a shock to the maid in question. She looked up in dismay, unconvinced that she would be dismissed so readily. But my lord, did I do something wrong? I only spoke out because she barged in without notice. I feared she might try to assassinate you. Chu Ran laughed humorously. You think those in the Holy Land are all blind or something? Who can kill me while on my own turf? Reunion 10. The maid clenched her lips as those eyes flushed a pink red. Go down, you don't need to come back afterward. Chu Ran orders, his patience wearing thin. The maid was very reluctant to leave but did not dare to say more. Giving a bow, she headed for the exit to only be stopped by what she heard next. Remember, you don't need to come to the Holy Land anymore. The maid's body froze as she turned her head stiffly over the clarification. Lord, why are you evicting me from the Holy Land? It took her so much to get into this great power. Even if it's only as a maid to serve tea and water, but her family was still proud of her. If she were to be evicted, what would happen to herself? How would her clan treat her? Only she knows that better than anyone. A person who can't tell the situation is not needed in my service. You can leave now, I don't want to see you again. The maid no longer said more and fled away, but not before giving a fleeting glance at Bai Yan. There's a strong level of hatred and resentment. Lord, I'm back. Bai Yan doesn't give this any attention since this didn't occur to the Demon Queen as something important. To her, this was the maid's own inability to retain her post. Chu Ran formed a big genuine smile at the woman's return. He's showing regret, appreciation, and pride. Proud for being able to take in such a talented person. Regret that he couldn't have such a genius as his daughter-in-law. It's a real shame. Such a good girl and my son can't win her heart despite all those years of effort. How long are you going to be back this time? Also, I quit drinking. This girl most hated it when he drinks with his daughter. As a result, he would often have Xueqi be the scapegoat. But this time, he's honestly abstained from alcohol. I'm just coming back to see you guys. Then I'm leaving right after. Bai Yan explains by shaking her head. She doesn't have too much contact with Chu Ran, but Bai Yan does know he loves her very much like family. If at first he accepted her for the gift she held, what came afterward were genuine emotions. Otherwise, who could put up with Bai Xiaoqin's antics of causing trouble everywhere he went with Xueqi in the younger years? Is that so? Sighed the man. I'm just glad you thought of us. Do bring these little ones often if possible. Yi is getting wilder as she ages and I can no longer control her. She doesn't like to accompany me, so I've been getting more bored lately. It would be nice to play with the kids if possible. Grandpa Chu Ran, you don't have to worry. I will definitely bring my brother and sister here to see you often. The steam bun spoke up with the sincerest voice, bellowing out a pleased laugh. I really envy your grandfathers. Of the three great powers, only I lack a third generational heir. Yi Feng, that boy loves you so much that I fear he won't ever marry in this life. As for Yi, she's so wild and crazy at times, who would dare touch her? If this continues, then I might need to make alternative plans. Oh right, Bai Yan recalls one of the reasons she's here to meet him. Yi wanted me to tell you that she's leaving the Holy Land for the Celestial Realm. She is afraid of you stopping her, so she asked me to tell you instead. Reunion 11. In that moment, smile on the man's face shattered into oblivion. His breathing rhythm began to pant like he's about to lose his mind. That crazy girl ran away again? How dare she keep running off to the Celestial Realm? I'm going to break her leg once I get my hands on her. Doesn't she know how dangerous it is over there? If I don't properly teach her a lesson, then she will end up dead before I know it. I advise you not do that and send someone after her. Bai Yan shrugged. Chu Ran goes beet red as he struggles to retain his composure. Yenner, you don't need to speak for her. She is getting out of hand at this rate. I must give her a good lecture before she gets into real trouble. Oh, then go ahead. Bai Yan continued to smile, but her eyes were all playful. But don't blame me for not telling you about it. If you bring her back, then you might miss out on being a grandfather. Didn't you want a third generational heir, perhaps a grandson? Grandson? Charan choked, and he turned his head a little, his eyes falling on the white-faced body. What did you just say? Grandson? She got pregnant before she got married? That disgrace. Although I wanted a grandchild, but getting pregnant before marriage is still unforgivable. Not yet, the grin deepens in Bai Yan's face. Yi ran off to chase her husband-to-be. Whether or not she will be successful is still unknown. But if you bring her back, then I'm afraid that possibility will be a no. She didn't want to leak this matter today since it's not hers to say, but if it could make Chu Ran stop, then it's a compromise she's willing to take. Patting his own chest to soothe that erupting anger, the Holy Lord suddenly froze after catching on to her meaning. Wait, slow down and let me catch up. Did you say Yi went out to chase her husband-to-be? You mean that crazy girl is finally in love with a guy? I'm not dreaming, am I? My daughter can finally get married. If there wasn't an example set by Bai Yan to go upon, Chu Ran would certainly not want his daughter to get married. However, it's impossible to get Chu Yifeng to like another female. With his son a lost cause, who else was he going to turn to for a grandson or granddaughter? Right. Chu Ran shot his gaze up to face the demon queen. Can you tell me who the guy is at least? Who is so lucky to win Yi's heart? My brother Bai Xiao. Bai Xiao. The man made an astonished face. The man Yi likes is Bai Yan's own brother? The Holy Lord never met the boy, but he's heard enough about Bai Xiao's exploit to know he's a reliable guy. Besides, if Bai Yan was so exceptional, then there's no way her brother wouldn't be as well. Ha ha ha. Chu Ran bellows out a hearty laugh of content. That's wonderful news. I always lamented the fact that you did not become my daughter-in-law, but now we can still be family with your brother as my son-in-law. Ha ha ha. Bai Yan was equally as happy with this arrangement. Then are you still going to send someone after her? Of course not. She can go all she like. Chu Ran states this with a wide grin of his own. Yi is old enough, so it's up to herself to make such choices. I can't keep watching over her head, otherwise she will never get married. What if my involvement botches their relationship? That actually made Bai Yan's face turn black with lines running across it. Why do I get the feeling Chu Ran will marry Yi off at any cost? Mother, I finally know why Sister Yi always says she's adopted. Bai Xiaoqin tugs at his mother's sleeve. If it were father, he'd definitely be reluctant to marry Ling Yan off. Whoever dares to abduct my sister, me and father will break their legs. Reunion 12. A humph, Xueqi made an awkward cough, his eyes immediately falling upon the tiny body of the pipsqueak. You can't say it like that. If my daughter and Bai Xiao does become a pair, they are going to eventually have a son. By then, we might even be able to get closer through their marriage. Bai Yan's face suddenly blackened. She didn't want to keep her precious daughter around forever, but she wouldn't want to let anyone have ideas about her either. No! Bai Xiaochen jumps in with forked arms around his waist. Using his body as a shield for his sister. Sister Yi is marrying my uncle. If they have a kid, then that makes him my cousin. A cousin cannot marry another cousin. That's interbreeding. Xueqi became taken aback by the boy's firm stance on the subject and turned to the Demon Queen for detail. There is such a thing? How come I never heard of it? Is it real? Under Xueqi's gaze, Bai Yan nodded slowly. Blood relatives within 3 generations cannot be married. The premise being related to only blood relatives though. Since it's you saying that, then I won't doubt it. Xueqi loosens his frown, but Xiaochen seemed to forget his uncle is not from the same biological mother as yours Yenner. That makes it okay, doesn't it? If worse. I still have Yun Feng. When reaching this part, the Holy Lord suddenly paused and got quiet. Oh whatever, pretend I didn't say anything about that boy. Yi Feng won't ever be able to get married. It's impossible in this life. I'm better off counting on Yi to give me a grandchild than to rely on that boy. Bai Xiaochen makes a stupor face at this realization. Mother, would they be able to get married if cousins aren't blood-related? Looking at his son's aggrieved and pitiful face, Bai Yan didn't know what else to do but nod. Lying about this subject wouldn't be good, so the hard truth was a must. Blood relatives are not allowed to marry, but anything else is fine. The steam bun got all quiet like he's contemplating the idea. Then I don't care. If Sister Yi gives birth to a boy, then he's my little brother. I will teach him to protect Ling Yan. If he misbehaves, then I will break his leg. I will teach him from a young age that cousins can't get married. After so many years of being misguided in all the wrong ways, Bai Xiaochen has finally learned what it means to be a teacher. Education must be taught from a young age. Only by teaching them his logic would it become the norm instead of the norm. Big brother, the pipsqueak chimes in with that innocent voice. Why do you always want to break people's legs? Ling Yan, Bai Xiaochen presses his hands onto the girl's shoulder. His voice severe and stern. Those people are all bad inside. They want to abduct you and not let you come home. Don't you want to see me and mother? Tilting her head in a puzzled manner. But you and grandfather are saying different things. Grandfather Heavenly told me I mustn't listen to you and father. Who do I listen to? Grandfather Heavenly? Xueqi got surprised and jumped up. Yenner, you saw Yun Feng? Bai Yan nodded in confirmation. I also found my father by accident, and he's with my mother now. Xueqi relaxed after hearing this good news. Those two had it hard all these years. It's good to learn your parents are finally together. To think the big lady of the medicine sect and young master of the fairy house would have such a tough life. The medicine sects and misty fairy houses fight. 1. Bai Yan's eyes couldn't help but get emotional after the man said all those heartfelt words. A reunion of her parents, that's a goal she's been working hard toward since the very beginning. Lord, we came back to see, and now it's getting late, so it's about time we leave. There's still a lot of work waiting for me. Xueqi didn't try to retain the woman after seeing the determined expression. Making a smile. Then I will not delay you further if you have something to attend to. But do go see your grandfathers, especially the one at the Misty Fairy House. No matter what, he's still your grandfather. I know, said Bai Yan with an understanding of what he meant. I've stated my stance long ago. As long as I can find my mother, then I will forgive him. Since she's with my father now, I won't hold the past against him anymore. I know he's been regretting a lot too over what he did. In fact, the stubborn old grandfather had regretted his decision the day Heavenly went mad due to being separated from his wife by Ning. Unfortunately, remorse doesn't change the facts. Because of his decision and foolishness, Bai Yan's parents suffered for many years. Sure, the Demon Queen could forgive the grandfather that nearly ruined her family, but it doesn't change the fact that she's more inclined to favor her grandfather at the medicine sect. Mother, Ling Yan heard they're leaving already and tugged at the woman's sleeve. Are we going to see great-grandfather? It's my first time meeting them. Should I bring a gift? No, you're the best gift for them. Bai Yan smiled wholeheartedly and rubbed her daughter's head before giving the outside a strange look all of a sudden. Since the maid serving the Holy Lord was thrown out, her tears hadn't stopped flowing thus far. She's unwilling to accept this outcome and felt wronged. Suddenly, a figure in front caught her attention and caused the weeping female to stop. Uncle! Standing in front of him was a middle-aged man who had on a grim face. What's the matter? I worked so hard to arrange for you to be by the Lord's side. Did you do something to anger him? Otherwise, she wouldn't have left crying. The maid clenched her lips. Just now I saw that a woman had barged into the Lord's study room without announcement, so I scolded her. I honestly didn't expect the Lord to explode at me and drive me out of the Holy Land. Uncle, what should I do? If I go back home like this, then Father will literally kill me for this. She's the most beautiful daughter of the family. Therefore everyone had placed their hope onto herself. If she fails and return without results, the aftermath and consequences would be dire. What did you say? The middle-aged man's face sank. Zheng Cloud, are you stupid or something? This isn't your Zhang clan's home. If that woman can enter the Lord's study without notice, then that proves she is special. How can you be so foolish to scold someone like that? The maid sobbed harder and began to hiccup. But, even if that's the case, the Lord shouldn't have exploded like that. How can he drive me out of the Holy Land for something so innocent? The middle-aged man didn't respond to her words right away. Instead he got all quiet and whispered his following question. Describe the woman's appearance to me. I want to find out her identity. This way I can tell if there's still a way to salvage the situation. The medicine sects and Misty Fairy houses fight too. The maid heavily bit her lips. She's reluctant to say but answered truthfully anyways. The woman is very beautiful. That's all. The middle-aged man frowned and continued to ask. She's beautiful, a striking kind of beauty, especially when she's dressed in red. The air she has is overwhelmingly memorable. She also had 3 kids with her. One was about 6 years old while the other 2 were about 2 years old. The maid did not see the expression made by her uncle as she explained, but he had literally turned green in horror. It's reported that the owner of the Holy Island loves to wear red all year round. What's more, she also has a child which should be around 6 as well by this year. On top of that, rumor has it the person has given birth to twins not too long ago. If going by all these clues, he could be almost certain this woman was the owner of the Holy Island. Zheng Yun, this time I can't save you. You better flee as soon as you can. The middle-aged man sneered. By the way, once you go back to your home, tell your mother I will no longer have anything to do with the Zheng clan. I do not want to be dragged down by someone else's mistake. One protects their own interest, each for themselves. Moreover, he's done enough for the Zheng clan thus far. They're already 3 generations apart, thus making them distant relatives at best. Like bringing Zhang Yun into the Holy Land and getting her the post as the maid of the Holy Lord, that's already a favor he didn't need to do. Now that this distant niece of hers failed in winning the Holy Lord's heart, why should he continue to support such a girl or her family? Uncle! The maid became stupefied by the cruel reality and became flustered. What do you mean by that? The middle-aged man sneered some more. Do you know who you've offended? She's the strongest person in the human world. Others may not know this, but I've been following the Lord for many years. How can I not know her? Not only is her talent above everyone else's, she's also the wife of the king of the demons. Let's put it this way. If her husband summoned the horde of demons upon us, they could destroy the entire human world. Huffing to keep himself from losing composure. No, they actually don't need that many demons, just a small fraction is enough. They can literally turn the human world into a territory of the demon realm. Do you understand? His chest would rise up and down in strides due to the anger he felt inside. Honestly, the man regretted helping the Zhang clan from the hearts down at this point. The maid's body froze as she looked up in dismay, those eyes popping out of reflex. All of this? You are certain? Ho ho, the middle-aged man sarcastically ticked his lips into a snarling smirk. When did I ever lie to you? No one has lived on the Holy Island for many years now. Not even the princess lives there. Do you know why? It's because the Holy Lord has gifted the island to her long ago. Only she is eligible to live there. The maid's face got pale like a ghost. Even the princess cannot live on the island. Only she can? Uncle, it can't be that the Lord really likes her? Like her? Indeed, the Lord really does like her, but as a daughter-in-law. Sadly, that person didn't have the young master in her eye and the union fell apart and never came to fruition. Despite all that, the Lord still takes her as a daughter in his eye. That's how highly prized she is to everyone in the Holy Land. The middle-aged man knew the thought running through her distant niece's mind and wanted to snuff it out before it blew out of proportion. Zhang Yun's body turned to stone in that instant. Standing there with the breeze blowing against her body, the maid never felt so afraid in her entire life. In fact, her entire back had become drenched in sweat by this stage. The Medicine Sects and Misty Fairy Houses Fight 3. As it so happens, it's precisely at this moment where the maid turned to face the palace grounds that Bai Yan and her kids came out of the door. Immediately, endless panic filled the maid's heart. In the face of such a grand person, who wouldn't be afraid? None in the Holy Land would ever dare provoke this individual, yet she, a lowly servant, did. So, when their line of sight met, Zhang Yun promptly turned tail and fled in the other direction. She only wants to get out of this nightmarish land and run home regardless of the consequences. Mother, isn't that the auntie maid who was around Grandpa Chu ran earlier? The pipsqueak asks innocently. Bai Yan looked over in the indicated direction and nodded slowly. Are we that terrible? Why did she see us and run like a fleeing dog? The girl pinches her lips in confusion. I am so cute and I don't eat people, why is she scared of me? Bai Xiachen also glanced over in that direction and answered instead. Someone made a mistake, so of course they will be scared. That's what you call a guilty consciousness, Ling Yan. Someone probably told her about Mother's identity. That's why she fled the moment she saw us. Pity. Mother never took her seriously. She didn't need to run to begin with. Let's go. Bai Yan understood what her boy was indicating at and patted her eldest's head. We don't have time to waste on inconsequential people. Your grandfather is still waiting for us. Okay. The steam bun smiles widely with his teeth showing. I wonder if granduncle is around at the medicine sect. I wonder if he's married yet. If not, I bet great-grandfather will grow anxious because of that. Bai Yan's eyes fell into a bit of trance. Looking back at things, if I hadn't met Bai Zhongping back then, would I have discovered my own background? Forming a warm smile at the impending reunion with her relatives, Bai Yan's mood immediately lightened up. Come, we're going home. The medicine sect was located atop of a high-standing mountain. Due to the high altitude and difficult route to reach this great power, it's not often that they get visitors. Fortunately, the person in charge of watching the entrance gate was a person from years ago. He only needed a glance to recognize Bai Yan, so no trouble occurred here. In fact, the person was so ecstatic that he ran ahead to inform the master of this place ahead of the family. Inside the main courtyard, Bai Chongfeng was currently playing a game of tabletop chess with his in-law counterpart. No more. After Chief Wu Wei of the Misty Fairy House placed his last piece, the old Gramps shamelessly flipped the game board after seeing there's no more room for him to move. My mind is not calm today. I don't want to play anymore. We can continue tomorrow. Chief Wu Wei faintly chuckles. A loss is a loss. What excuse is there? So what if I lose a chess game? In the end, my granddaughter still chose to use my last name. In that respect, I already won. Bai Chongfeng shot back with a grunt, his face full of pride. The Medicine Sects and Misty Fairy Houses Fight 5. Milord, milord! Suddenly, a sound of joy came from the outside and caught everyone's attention. Originally, Bai Chongfeng was still disgruntled and high-face, but as soon as he saw who it was, his temper immediately subsided and made a wary look. Milord, the young miss is back. Making a startled face, the old grandfather and ruler of the medicine sect promptly jumped up. Is it Ninger, my daughter, or Yen Yen, my granddaughter? It's Miss Bai Yen. Miss Bai Yen is back, along with the little master. Wah! Not needing to tell him further, Bai Chongfeng's figure instantly disappeared into a blur. He's running for the outside to receive his precious granddaughter and great-grandson. Even from afar, the old grandfather could see that dazzling red figure and adorable youngster. However, he didn't expect to find two other adorable kids walking alongside the pair. Yen Yen! Bai Chongfeng flew into a joyous cry, the tears nearly falling out. It's been well over 2 years since the woman left this place. Therefore, it's no wonder the grandfather would be so emotional. Grandfather, uncle, Bai Yen smiled and warmly greeted her family members who arrived in quick succession. Grandpa, Grandma, you're also here. June Tianyu, Grandma. Quietly wiped the tears coming off of her eyes at being addressed. You're back. Yes, I'm back, said Bai Yan with an emotional voice as well. Are all of you doing well? Yes, of course we're doing well, Yan Yan. There's no problem at all. Aside from your grandfather and grandpa constantly fighting, there's nothing out of the ordinary. As soon as the mistress of the Misty Fairy House said that, the entire air around the group dampened. Firstly, it was Bai Chongfeng who flailed his hands around in the air, unsure of what to say as an excuse for his behavior. Following second was Chief Wu Wei, who made a ashamed face at being ousted by his own wife. Great-grandfather, do you often fight? Bai Xiachen stepped forward and began lecturing his elders like a good adult. Fighting is not a good habit. If you continue to fight, then you will make mother angry. If she is angry, then I will be very upset, and if I'm upset, then bad things will happen. Bai Chongfeng coughs awkwardly at the boy's antics. Misunderstanding, this is a misunderstanding. Your grandpa Wu Wei and I are perfectly good. We're just playing around. I hope that's the case. The steam bun holds himself high and mighty as he nods. Chuckling at her eldest's humorous speech, Bai Yan ruffles her son's hair as compliment. Xiachen is right. We are family. We should care for each other and not fight. That's not a good example to make. If I learn of you two fighting again next time. She narrows her eyes in at the two grandpas and smiled meaningfully. I will go live at the Holy Land from now on. I do have an excellent relationship with my shifus. Although they are quite noisy at times, but they won't fight. Bai Chongfeng and Chief Wu Wei's strength are both very strong. Even if they are joking around when sparring, they would inevitably make a mistake somewhere down the line and hurt each other. Therefore, the fighting must be stopped. Okay, I'll never fight this old thing again. I'll listen to my baby granddaughter. Bai Chongfeng bellows out a hearty laugh and reassuringly says this. Chief Wu Wei immediately stared at his counterpart before turning to smile at his granddaughter in an appeasing manner. Of course, we will do as you wish, Yan Yan. If you don't want us fighting, then we will not fight anymore. The Medicine Sects and Misty Fairy Houses fight. 6. Isn't that better, great-grandfathers? Bai Xiachen raised a bright smile. You can't make mother angry, ah. Yes, yes, great-grandfather here understands, my good child. Bai Chongfeng jovially laughs. You are always watching over your mother like a good son that you are. That is, of course, my mother gave birth to me and suffered so much. It's only right that I be filial to her. Looking at the little guy's young and lovely face, Bai Chongfeng's heart became warm and appeased. Yan Yan is so lucky to have a son like Xiachen, so witty and clever that knows how to be good to their own parent. Unlike this Zhamping of mine. This boy is already so old, yet he's not getting a wife or child yet. Oh, just thinking of this is making me angry. Thinking up to here, the medicine lord promptly shot a stare back over to his son who's standing in the rear. What did I do now to provoke this old boy? The poor man was clueless as to why his old man would do this and made an inexplicable face. Yan Yan, these two children are... June Tianyu, being the only other female present, didn't miss the twins unlike the male counterparts. She had long heard of Bai Yan giving birth to more children, so this wasn't hard to guess who they are. Grandma, this is my daughter and son, Ling Yan and Jean Tian. Go up, the both of you. Go greet your great-grandfathers and grandmother. The other one behind them sulking is your granduncle. Hello, great-grandfathers, great-grandmother and granduncle. Ling Yan and Jean Tian's voice were both very soft and adorable, letting all those who hear them melt away like a marshmallow. June Tianyu was the most affected and nearly had a crying fit at her new great-grandchildren. Great-grandmother didn't prepare a proper gift since all of my good belongings are at home. In that case, why don't you two inherit the Misty Fairy House as my gift instead? Bai Chongfeng immediately shot a look to his in-law's shameless face. He's a gentleman, though a grumpy one, but that doesn't mean he won't compete with a woman of his age. Ling Yan, Jean Tian, don't listen to her. What's so fun about the Misty Fairy House anyways? It's better to stay at the medicine sect with me since it's more fun. Jean Tian, the little glutton, had his thumb in his mouth as he replied. Is there delicious things? Yes, of course. Bai Chongfeng's eyes lit up with hope. I got a lot of delicious snacks in store for you. If you like, I can even invite the top chefs of the continent here. They can cook all sorts of delicious food for you, my dear child. June Tianyu chuckled at the man's promise. Oh, Lord Chongfeng, did you forget my fairy house already employed the best chefs out there? What can you make here that the excellent cooks at my home can't? Plus, There are plenty of unique ingredients found only in the mountains of the fairy house. How can you compete with us? Ho ho, as long as these two little ones desire it, I can get anything I need. There's nothing I can't do for them. There's nothing one couldn't do if they put their minds to it. So what if the fairy house employed some legendary cooks? He could offer them his Dan pills as trade to come work here instead. He got plenty, and doesn't those people wouldn't be tempted? Great-grandfather, did you ask me for permission when trying to rob my little brother and sister? Bai Xiaoqin's face got all black like a charcoal. Jin Tian must inherit the demon realm one day, so he must go back. Bai Chongfeng looked to the steam bun in shock. Didn't your father name you the crown prince? Why are you throwing the demon realm on your little brother? What are you going to do then? I of course am going to travel the world with Ling Yan. Bai Xiaoqin cocks his chin high. Proud declaration. Dream on if anyone thinks I'm going to be a demon king. I only need mother and my sister. I don't want no demon realm dragging me down. It's better for Jin Tian to shoulder this responsibility. Return to the lawn house, 1. Bai Chongfeng's mind flashed with an idea. If the demon realm is under little Jin Tian's control, then my medicine sect can. Yet before the old Gramps could speak his mind, the steam bun had already caught onto the old fox and got alarmed. No, great-grandfather, you can't look at me. I won't do it. I need to take my sister out on a journey around the world. I don't have time to manage the medicine sect. Having said that, he turned his attention over to Chief Wu Wei and his wife. The same is true of the fairy house. Don't throw them over my head. Making an embarrassed face at being called out, Chief Wu Wei deflates and understood his own sneaky fox was dead before birth. However, that doesn't mean there's no alternatives. Placing his fist to the mouth for a cough to clear his throat, the fairy lord was a clever one. Then how about Ling Yan? She's here too. Or, don't even think about my sister. I won't let you have her. Bai Xiaoqin hurriedly pulled the pipsqueak behind his back into a protective stance, his eyes nervous like those old Gramps would snatch her away. Grandfather, Grandpa, you can seek my uncles to help, can you not? I know Uncle Zhangping and Uncle Sun Huan is capable enough. Once said, Bai Yan shoots a grinning look at the only uncle present in the rear. She's repaying the debt of him trying to throw the medicine sect over her own head from way back. Note: Sun Huan is Heavenly's younger brother, the womanizer. Bai Zhangping's face instantly a shade of white. It's not easy for me to lose the burden of the medicine sect. How did it end up over my head again? A humph, Zhangping promptly coughs to get their attention. Father, you also know my ability. I am only interested in training myself. If the medicine sect falls on my hand, it will be ruined sooner or later. I believe it's best to wait for Yan Yan to give us a new heir again down the road. Chief Wu Wei frowns and cuts in. How can one be enough? My fairy house also needs one. No matter what, I can't rely on my second son to carry the banner. Aside from womanizing, he's good for nothing else. At least Zhangping is obsessed with growing himself. Meanwhile, Sun Huan only knows how to flirt with those females flocking around himself day and night. Immediately, Bai Yan recalled back to the handsome yet flirtatious picture of that second uncle from her father's sides of the family. Their first meeting was of Sun Huan trying to hit on herself and ended up making a fool of himself in the end. At least Uncle Sun Huan isn't out making trouble everywhere. If he is, then that would be troublesome. Then that's decided. Bai Chongfeng spoke with a sigh of relief. Yan Yan, you and Di Tsong need to work harder and give us some more children. That will solve all the problems we have. I'll do my best. Bai Yan gets flushed red from embarrassment. Why does it feel like these two are treating their respective powers like it's a hot potato needing to be tossed away? Bai Xiaoqin didn't object to the proposal in this case. For the steam bun, so long as he and his little sister didn't get affected, then that's good. As for everyone else, well, they could handle the hot potato all they like. Yan Yan, have you visited the Holy Land yet? Bai Chongfeng turns and suddenly asked this. Bai Yan nodded softly replied, I just came over from that side. I also need to visit the Lu Hua kingdom afterwards to meet everyone at the lawn house. It's unfortunate, but I only have a limited amount of time here. She still needs to find Di Tsong. Therefore it's the most she could do. Undoubtedly, Bai Chongfeng and the rest were slightly disappointed by the poor news. They want to spend more time with Bai Yan, but they also knew she had a lot of work on hand and couldn't stay in one place for long. Yan Yan, if you got work to do, then don't mind us. Your grandfather and grandpa are perfectly fine the way they are. Jun Tianyu, being the sensible grandmother, decides to lighten the mood. but if you have some time to spare then do visit the fairy house. I know Elder Zhongnan and Zhongbei misses you a lot too. Return to the lawn house too. Bai Yan's heart quivered with emotions as she smiled. I'll go back and have a look at them for sure. Zhongnan and Zhongbei's relationship may not be as strong as her 3 shifas from the Holy Land, but they are genuine and still her Shifu. What's more, the love they gave couldn't be more authentic. She felt it, truly felt it, like a parent raising a child kind of truth. For that, she would never forget them. We should go now, there's still a lot of places we must visit. Jun Tianyu's eyes are a bit red as this grandmother grasped the woman's hand. She's reluctant to separate from her granddaughter after such a short reunion. Chief Wu Wei saw this and immediately went over to his wife's side. He understood the pain this was causing and tightly hugged that shoulder so she would let go. No words would be comforting, so he didn't speak. Oh right. Bai Yan suddenly remembered an important message she had to pass on. My father has found my mother. They are together at this point. The couple, who was initially still feeling sad, promptly froze in their hug. Instantly, a look of joy filled their faces. Is what you said true? Yun Feng found your mother? How come they didn't come home together? Flashing a spark of gloom in her eyes, Bai Yan didn't want to worry them. He is in a place that has a seal. For the time being, they can't leave. But don't worry, he and my mother will return together. Ha ha ha, laughing with tears flowing down his face, Chief Wu Wei kept nodding his head. That's good, that's good. As long as he is safe, then I can't ask for anything more. That year I did the stupidest thing possible and nearly ruined Yun Feng. Now that Wan Yun Feng was safe and sound, the father felt the burden lifting from his shoulder. Jun Tianyu also felt relieved and secretly wiped the tears from the corner of her eye. She's a mother. To be able to know her son was happy was something she always wanted. Yan Yan, you are really the lucky star of our fairy house. Since you appeared, we've not only got news of Ninger, your mother, they're also reunited. I'm so happy I can't begin to describe my happiness. Oh yes. Did you know our 2 families have all reached the celestial rank? The celestial rank for a cultivator may not be much elsewhere, but in the human world, it's the pinnacle of power. Bai Yan would like to continue explaining her father's situation, but upon further thought and the sensitivity of Heavenly's existence, she decides to hold it in. It's best for the man to explain it himself when the time comes. Grandfather, Grandpa, Uncle, Grandma. It's time for us to go. The Demon Queen gets a bit emotional as she glanced over her relatives. I believe a time will come where we're all reunited again. Please wait for that day. Jun Tianyu quickly nodded in agreement. She's very proud of this granddaughter and never questioned her ability to achieve anything in life. Then turning to her uncle Bai Zhanping, Bai Yan's eyes grew naughty. Uncle, I know you are not getting any younger, so I hope the next time I return, you will have an aunt waiting for me. Bai Zhanping's face turned to stone. I will try, I will try. Humph. Bai Chongfeng snorts and sounded very displeased. You've been saying that for so long, you can't keep fooling us anymore. I'm giving you a final deadline. If you can't get a wife before Xiaoqin gets one, then I will stuff the medicine sect over your head. Father. You're really going too far. Bai Zhanping grits his clattering teeth in horror. Just now when Bai Chongfeng mentioned that he would let Bai Yan's children take over, he honest to God thought he was safe. When did his freedom become so frail and pricey? Return to the lawn house 3. Shut up. Wait until you bring back a wife, then we can talk. Until then, you as a man that doesn't have a wife or child have no right to talk. Bai Chongfeng huffs and puffs and was ready to blow his son apart. Bai Zhanping couldn't talk back. Instead, he turns to Bai Yan for help using those pleading eyes. Yet, rather than speaking up for her uncle, Bai Yan acts like she didn't see him and chuckled. That's a good arrangement, that way we won't have to bother my children in the future. The medicine sect will depend on you, uncle. Hearing this, Bai Zhanping's face turned green with despair. This girl thinks I can't find a woman home? No matter, Xiaoqin will take another decade before he gets a wife. I still have plenty of time. How hard can it be to fall in love? Let's go then, children. After giving her final farewell, Bai Yan led the way with her 3 kids for the next location. We're going to the Lu Hua Kingdom. Since Bai Yan first appeared in the Holy Land, the news of her return has spread like wildfire. Of the most shocked and happiest would have to be the Beast Tamer sect's leader Feng Yufeng, who swore fealty to the steam bun way back. You're saying Mrs. Bai Yan and her son is back? Yes, my lord. We got credible confirmation that they say her heading into the Holy Land. Right now her current projection should be the medicine sect with the latest information we have. The person below respectfully reported. Fong Yufeng slowly sat back down on his chair after he jumped up earlier, his chest thumping uncontrollably with excitement. Have Elder Lei go seek an audience with Mrs. Bai Yan on our behalf. No, I better go in person instead. After all, she and her son is no longer the same anymore. Back then in the palace ground, he didn't know Bai Yan's identity and merely swore fealty to Bai Xiachen due to the glass dragon submitting to the boy. However, with more and more news returning of her grand feat over the years, he understood it's not only her son that's incredible and part of the prophecy, but she too was a woman of legendary proportion. Like being the granddaughter of the medicine sect and fairy house. Like her husband being the ruler of the demon realm. Without a doubt, he's absolutely grateful that the destined child in the prophecy wasn't Nan Gonglin. I wonder if those of the Bai House and Crown Prince's manor were to be alive today, would they regret their decisions knowing her identity? Lu Hua Kingdom. Like always, the bustling noise from the tea shops and local vendors didn't change. It's just as lively as Bai Yan remembered while walking through memory lanes. However, right as she was about to come before the estate that she had in this kingdom, mainly kept in order by her subordinate Hualuo of the flower brothel, a loud commotion caught her ears from the side. It's a loud screeching cry of pain from the manor next to her own, accompanied then by a scolding voice of a middle-aged man chasing a round ball of flesh through the front door. Stinking brat, you really grown now, how dare you tease girls in open daylight on the streets? I will definitely break your legs today. Return to the lawn house for... Wang Duqiu angrily chased his son out from the inside with a whipping stick in hand. He's showing the brat what it means to be a human being. In response, the chubby repeatedly jumped and rolled at the pain on his butt. He's screaming like a banshee, which soon caused the passerby on the street to look over. Suddenly, Wang Duqiu's whipping action stopped, his face slowly looking up to make a surprised face at the woman standing at the neighboring door. Mr. Wang, it's been a long time. Bai Yan greets the former neighbors with a friendly smile. Even after several years, these two are still like this and unable to control their temper and attitude. Boss! Wang Xiaopeng the chubby exclaims in joy after seeing the steambun's figure. He's all tears and sobs all over that squealy face. Boss, you are finally back. Woo-hoo, my father wants to kill me, you must save me. Bai Xiachen looked to his friend who's leaking snot all over. Immediately his expression sank. Xiaopeng, did you make your father angry again? I didn't do much, I only teased a young lady on the street a bit. I didn't touch her or anything, really. The chubby cries and defends himself. Wang Xiaopeng, it is wrong to tease a little girl. You must change this bad habit of yours. Otherwise no one will want to be your wife later. The way he speaks, the steambun sounds like he's a small adult already and knows better. Wang Duqiu's heart instantly sighed at this image. Look at how sensible other people's children are, and look at his own. How could there be a comparison? He would be lucky if this darn brat didn't send him to an early grave. Mr. Duqiu, how come you are here in the Lu Hua Kingdom and not at the fairy house? Bai Yan didn't pay heed to the kid's conversation and spoke with her neighbor instead. Making a friendly smile, the man understood why she would ask such a question. Actually, I chose to come live here. Staying at the fairy house to act as the gatekeeper is simply not suitable for me anymore after experiencing the freedom on the outside. That's why I brought my kids with me and moved back here. Bai Yan raised an eyebrow. That's good to hear. I thought you were wronged by the fairy house and left. Wronged? How is that possible, Mrs. Bai Yan? After they learned of my connection with you and Xiachen, everyone treats me with the utmost respect and wouldn't think about crossing me. Wang Duqiu proudly cocks his head up like a damn peacock. Like father like son. The chubby immediately shot his father a remark to bring him back to earth. If it weren't for me being friends with boss, would you even have the opportunity to know Sister Bai Yan? Wang Duqiu's prideful face instantly disappeared over his son's call out. Going green, the man shot a fierce stare at the chubby for warning. And sure enough, it worked and sent the kid packing to hide behind Bai Xiachen for cover. Boss, this lovely little sister is... Suddenly, Wang Xiaopeng noticed the tiny pipsqueak standing next to Bai Yan. His eyes lit up at the sight of the adorableness. On the other hand, Bai Xiachen's face went black. Xiaopeng, I'm warning you, she's my little sister so you better not have any ideas about her. Otherwise, I will break your leg. Haha, if she's your little sister then she's my little sister. How can I have ideas about my little sister? The chubby pats his chest and spoke with reassurance. Don't worry, I will do my utmost to protect our sister. First shooting his friend a look, then assessing that chubbiness, the steam bun puckers his lip to the side and commented, Don't assume my sister is weak just because of her age. She is likely stronger than you, so if there's danger, she will probably have to protect you instead. Return to the lawn house. 5. How is that possible? Wang Xiaopeng made a disbelieving face. Your sister is still so young, how can she protect me? Di Lingyan's beamed with naughty light after that remark. With a grinning face, she caught up to the chubby spot and reached out to grab his hand. All smiles at the physical contact. Boss, your little sister is trying to be friends with me. I. Hiss, painful, painful. From the surface, the pipsqueak's hand doesn't appear strong or threatening, but the grip she performed on the chubby was on a level he never experienced. It's crushing his bone and causing the boy to shout and tear up. Chubby brother, how come you are so frail? Di Lingyan loosens her tiny hand and spoke with glee in those eyes. Even I am stronger than you. Rubbing his hand like an injured rabbit, the chubby showed confusion and fear at the girl's innocent appearance. This was especially true when the pipsqueak started to swing her body left and right. It's alarming and caused him to jolt backwards. Wang Dachio was equally as shocked. This little girl is only 2 years old at best, right? A 2 years old have this much power. As expected of by Yan's daughter. Ha! Wang Dachio snickers a grin at his own son, that face taking joy in the disaster befalling the chubby. How is that? I like to see you go tease girls again. You think you can tease just anyone? Better let you learn the hard way before it's too late. The chubby puffs his cheeks up like a pumpkin over the remark. Is this even my old man? How can he be so happy that his son is being taught a lesson? Mr. Dachio, I'm going to visit the lawn house right now. If someone from the flower brothel visits, could you pass on a message for me to have them gather at my manor until my return? Okay. Wang Dachio nodded. During this period, they've often sent people over to clean your estate. I'm sure one of them will be coming later today. Bai Yan smiled with warmth inside. Thank you, then I'll leave the matter to you. Xiachen, Ling Yan, Jin Tian, come, we're going now. Having said that, she turned for the lawn house in the other direction. The lawn house, compared with the fall of a few years ago, have long transformed into a new light. Countless strong people would visit just so they could have a chance to make a connection with the 3 great powers through their hands. However, this family never thought about doing that. Hence their refusal to entertain these individuals and turned a blind eye. Unfortunately, those hopeful souls didn't understand this fact and continued to pester the lawn house. As a result, old Lord Lawn was forced to stay inside his home for a period of time. Only then did the stampede of visitors quench for a while. Nevertheless, the number of visitors continued to block the doors of the estate. This was the startling picture that welcomed Bai Yan when she arrived outside to the long lines. Mother, are these relatives of the lawn house? Why haven't I met them before? Bai Xiachen rubs his nose and asked in bewilderment. I suspect they are here seeking an audience with them. Bai Yan shrugged. Xiachen, look after your siblings while we're here. Okay. The steam bun was afraid of them hurting her sister, so he immediately pulled the pipsqueak closer while leaving the little glutton to their mother. Hey, don't cut in line. It's then a person yelled in scolding tone while they walked over. Do you not see us all waiting in line? If want to meet Lord Long,